Yeah. So we are going to leave this for my wonderful panelists to manage themselves for the next 1 or 2 hours. We call this talk and go and sleep. That's what we call it. Thank you very much, my people. So, but because of that, if I leave her now, say, make we start to the talk. And if some people feel talk now, someone like Madarita and Oga CM go talk now till tomorrow, then I'll let other person talk. So let me call on. Okay, we lost James. Oh, James K, you left. Okay, that's fine. I didn't know that you were in rush. Next time, you let us know that you're in a hurry and all that. But nevertheless, the person that's supposed to talk to us now, okay, I believe it's all of now with the don't talk. All of now with the okay, now only the only person we never talk for here now be give us a mandate. So after give us a mandate, everybody else can manage themselves. Give us a mandate. Are you there now to speak, or you want us to come back to you?
I'm actually here to speak, but I cannot speak in this situation. So you can just play that video and
Okay.
maybe we go from there.
We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. All right. Thank you very much, my people. Let me see the video so that we can quickly take this together with people. You know, please like and share, and let's do this together. Is a new broadcast. If you can help us to like and share so that others can know that we are here. Thank you for your patience. We need to continue to stand for what is right. Mr. Peter Obi have once again displayed that yesterday, that we need to continue to stand for what is right. We don't have any other reason not to do what is right. So fingers crossed, we all are patiently waiting at this particular moment for judiciary to do the right thing. For me, I believe this week we'll be hearing from the judiciary though.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And also I still have it here anyway. Let's play our own rather. I didn't know that's what you would have said, put it properly, that the pastor, the fake pastor that was crying.
Oh, is he a pastor?
Yes, it's a pastor.
Only God go help us.
I am not too rich or too having crowd or too popular, but people that knew me.
Go to Jerusalem
Are you hearing
area
me?
and be praying for
Faneke saw
Tinubu.
me in
George,
Abuja,
play it now. Sorry.
and
Are you not
many of them
listening?
like that.
Are you not
Faneke saw
hearing?
me in Lagos
Yes, I'm hearing
as I
now.
was following him. Numerous people like that. Even since the day that he came to meet the king, I've been following him. Abba, not knowing that I'm supporting evil that is going to happen to the nation. Is that not going to be a really sin against me in the presence of God? The government of Tinubu is becoming real evil. There's no any good thing that's not going to come out of his government. Yoruba say a parable. He said, Ojú tó máa bá ní dalẹ̀, kì í tàárọ̀ ṣepin. Means a eyes that is going to your eyes that you are going to be using till you die. It will not begin to bring water in the morning as a young age. Are you hearing me? Yoruba may have adage said that we are putting one leg into a river and crocodile is drawing it. What of when we put the two leg? Haba, is this what is everybody is about to die for? Follow him here and there. Is this the kind of government? Yet to constitute his government, yet to set up his executive. Problem are coming like this. People are entering into real difficulty. Yeah? 1 liter of fuel, 700 naira. Rice, every other thing has become so much expensive in market. And you should know that what controls the economy of Nigeria is fuel. Yes, with the knowledge and what I heard about that fuel subsidy, he could have used it wisdom. I thought he's a wise man. That's what I was preaching. That is wise. That is wise. And I could remember when he was even talking in Ado-Ekiti, a Palace, in March 3rd last year. He said everything in Nigeria needed brain. He said needed brain. And I was preaching with that statement that he has the brain. Is that the brain he want to use now? Nothing has been put in order. You remove fuel subsidy. No. If I were him, immediately you come in, you are going to even ask for supplementary. like some million, back up that fuel subsidy. Tell them that in the next 1 year, we are going to remove fuel subsidy. Immediately, whether you borrow money or one way or another, begin to put about 2, 3, 4 refinery in order before that 1 year. So that by the time you are going to remove that fuel subsidy, we are not importing fuel again. At most, maybe fuel will be about 300 naira. People will not make shout. Him now increasing even people money, worker salary is of no use. It's useless. No matter any amount you give to them, it's useless. He's proposing 200,000 minimum wage. It will be so useless. Money will just be plenty without seeing what they will use the money for. Are you hearing me? Mr. Moses, please, I beg you and I put you under oath. If you do not allow this to get to the whole public or to get to the presidency, my God, we are French. Because I've learned out my voice. Yes, I've made a mistake. Let this get to the presidency. I can't speak outside now. Immediately I sent a message online or to the group yesterday. Some people were laughing at me. They were sending me inbox message. They were sending me a personal message. Here you see now. Maybe you are supporting him. You better just be praying. What kind of a government is this? Even though if you give worker 200,000, how many Nigerians are workers? How many Nigerians are civil servant? And you will see that 200,000 naira, it will be so useless in the hand of those workers that are collecting it. So it should not increase salary. Just let it be like 30,000, but let them continue that first subsidy for the next 1 year. It should go back to that first subsidy and subsidize the fuel in every nation of the earth, in America, in everywhere. Government subsidize some things. They subsidize bread. I have been in some countries and I see that. Even in Kutonu here, there are many things that their government subsidize. You don't want to subsidize everything. You remove everything. You want people to be suffering. This is not the kind of person I thought Tinubu was. But it's like, just come to avenge. I thought he's a very meek and godly person and lover of masses. I don't know, he's a wicked human being. I begin to develop. I am not too rich or too having crowd. As I was telling you, I am one of a very special and well-dedicated spiritual and physical, financial food soldier for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Now the same man.
I supported him so much that I've even received enemy, even in the Christendom, in Can, even by many pastors and servants of God and Christians. Why? Okay. I always supported him and assured them that nothing is going to make him not to win. Are you hearing it? I even go to the length of sold my pilot jeep in following him and in doing prayer, following him, lock ourselves with other 6 people, making 7 indoor for him in fasting and prayer. White fasting, that he must win. Follow him to campaign with fasting in many places. Are you hearing me? Nasarawa, Abuja. Are you hearing me now? Ondo, Ekiti, Lagos, Osun, Delta, Edo, in many places. Some people see me, he see me. I think he saw me in some of the places. Both up to Tesmin Stadium in Lagos. Are you hearing me? We even go to governor's house, that is in Marina. That is where me and him have some little talk. He had me over that day to Fasasi and the Kamal that whatever I want him to do, he will do. I discussed with them on phone with Fasasi. I go, in fact, I sacrifice a lot. Are you hearing me? I learned maybe Fasasi collected money, maybe he asked them to give me money, they didn't give me. I know I lost on that area. But that should not even be too much painful. Are you hearing me? If the government is so favorable, because I'll be assuring people here and there, churches and private, and don't worry, vote for this man, the government is going to be the best. Immediately coming, things will start coming down that 1 month. But may I tell you something? Since the week they saw in Tinubu, I don't think I'll be able to use my motor to go out 3 times. because the fuel price. And I've been using vehicle since 1986. The first vehicle I used in life was given to me by President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. He know me one-on-one because God used me to reveal to him the secret of Mama Fasa when they are plotting that. So we know one-on-one. I was even still in some years backward that I'm the one that prayed for him during his birthday. So, but I insist not to be following, and Tinubu himself know me. See the way this government is going. Before he come in, are you hearing me? I used to give them 5,000, 7,000, or 10,000 to buy food for 5 days. But now, if I give them 20-something thousand, it will not be even good. We can't eat even enough with my children and family. Last Sunday, I went for a program at Ibaraudo. Do you know what? I have to disguise myself, not to dress the way people will recognize me to enter public transport. Why? The Jeep I'm having now, I can't fuel it to go that place. I will use about 15,000 to fuel, go and come to Ibaraudo, to Ikiti here. We have an ordination in our headquarters. I just managed to carry the motor to go there. Are you hearing me? The day we do training, I have to follow other person. I can't carry motor. Can you see such a life? If me now in this level, what of other poor people that I know they are suffering? Many people are calling me. Abba. And what I'll be telling people is that government of Tinubu is going to be for the masses. This is not how to start. Yoruba make a parable. They said dry dog is sweet. But it's something we are going to eat before the dog dry. Yoruba say that it's going to good, it's going to good. That is how many other governments have been saying. He's supposed to have put things in order. We have about 4 refineries. This man has not put any of them in order. Then you are removing subsidy to put people into trouble. Huh? If I talk, I go out there in anywhere now, they will kill me. I am telling you. In many parks, some of these chairman of union that they respect me in Oye, in Ado, in Lagos, they respect me because I am a prophet and God has used me for them in one way or the other. Both in Kuje, both in Abuja and Suleja.
Yeah, prophet.
When I was telling them, don't worry, it's going to be better. I am telling you the other day that I was in Oye, when I want to talk, they wanted to, the way they are attacking me. If I did not use wisdom, maybe I could have murdered. Maybe they could have killed me in that place. Just because I don't know. Maybe I didn't go in spirit well. I was just seeing that God says he's going to win. But I don't know it's going to be a greater punishment to Nigeria again. What kind of government is he running? All I want to say, because just as you told me the other day that we talked, that it's not that they are giving you money for all the efforts for the group you create, which I believe this group you create contributed, if not 10 or 20% vote to him of that campaign. At least, let me say 20% of the campaign, this group you created. And I don't believe they have rewarded you in any way. Are you hearing me? But then, even though they not reward you personally, if the policy is favorable to people, you will know you have been rewarded. But this is government. It's going to be, it's a worst government that I've ever seen. Under 2 months, it's a worst government I've ever seen throughout my lifetime. So, if care is not taken, are you hearing me now? Yoruba said, he that bring a lame person, we know how to take him away. Are you hearing me? I only. I remember the time of Abacha. I was supporting military, but when Abacha come in, people that used to talk to when I get to see, one of the people that I was praying for in government then in soldier, they are retiring now as a major general. Are you hearing me? If this government is not careful and we go indoor for 3 days, and I know one thing or the other, Tinubu will be removed. I'm telling you, it's going to be it will be removed. Only 3 days marathon fasting. If I tear my clothes in the presence of God with tears, I know nothing will make him not to be removed because God have done so through me in 1998 during Abacha. So I want you to see how you are going to pass this message to them. Adeboye Gabasasi make use of me, collected money on my behalf. 1 naira I was not giving. Are you hearing me? I suffer. I invest my money, my spiritual capability, my time, my connection in collecting people. Forget about that.
Odaji.
People never was not rewarding personally, say take. But if the economy, if his policy is good, why not? I'll be happy. I will be so much happy. But the way thing is going, Tinubu is going to be a bad history in Nigeria. With that bad his wife. Initially, I don't even like that his wife because it's a religion. Even be a Christian, he doesn't have mercy. He doesn't have anything empathy. That is Oluremi Tinubu. He knows me one-on-one. I can say it to his own face. 2019, when Asiwaju was to send me to Israel, I go there to go and pray specially for him not to have loss of life. And I told him he's going to become the president. The man was ready to do it. Yes, he did it later. But do you know that Remi Tinubu, to my own face, was discouraging him? Of a blessed memory, Alhaji Latif, one of the aides, Friday, know what I'm saying. Are you hearing me? That woman that we think is a Christian is going to even support Christian is a religion bigot. Can you see what he's doing to the filler now? To the chaplain in filler. We only want to redeem to come there. So therefore, Tinubu government of less than 60 days is about to eat rock. I'm telling you. If he did not stand up now and reverse and do the better thing that's going to favor people, God will bring him down. He said that we will kill him. I'm telling you. You should be careful and do things now. God bless you. Yeah, as I was telling you, I am one of
Thank you very much, my people. I appreciate you all. You that is on the backstage there, writing on the private chat, I'm sorry, you are satanic. I have to block you. Yeah, you have been blocked. So you are not allowed to come in here. We know you. We have software to see what you are planning to do. All right. So thank you very much, my people. I appreciate you all. I guess unas go private chat. Now see person will be the chat for there. Say let me in. You know, Mona go private chat. Now see person will be the chat for there. It was one of those satanic people, trying to come in here and do one or two things. But don't worry, we know you guys. Thank you very much. No, my question is,
Mr. Elvis.
I
Yes.
can speak now, Mr. Elvis, if you're ready for me.
Mr. Elvis, is James K. Please, can I speak now because I have to work in the morning? It's late here.
Okay, that's fine. I'll prioritize it before give us a mandate. All
Give
right.
us our mandate. Sorry, please.
Hold on, James K. Please let me finish what I'm saying. You see that pastor. You see, he's confessing today. Now, some of the gullible Nigerians will think that pastor is there to help us. No, if maybe Tinubu give him position right now, he not go talk, right? He not go talk, right? So to be honest, we don't fair plan before, but it be like say we supposed to plan now as an intro.
Please,
Maybe,
please.
Okay,
I go double for you, please.
Okay, James K, please talk to us. 5 minutes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Elvis, for having me. Thank you, my fellow panelists. Let me start with Niger, the issue with Niger. I think 2 days ago, I spoke about it here. I'm really happy, because Niger, I would say Niger was the only Sahel country that was hosting, and I would say that is hosting, even up to now, that is hosting, I would say like more than how many foreign military bases there. Why is it that, recently we have coup in Mali, in Guinea, Conakry, in Burkina Faso. We didn't see condemnation like this. You see now, because they know Niger is so important to them. And now the biggest mistake Nigeria want to do right now, Tinubu want to do, uh he wants they want to use Tinubu to intervene militarily in Niger. And if they do that, it's going to affect all of us in that region. All of us will suffer it. To be honest with you, the biggest problem on this earth, on this planet, is America and this Europe. I live in Europe, but they are the biggest problem. These people. If you check the history, especially we African, check we history. Like I would say 400 to 500 years back. Check how these people, how they treat we, how they have been treating us, and how many leaders in Africa they have assassinated for us. Check our history. Since we try to gain our independence, our I would say fake independence, because up till now we are still under, we are under modern slavery. The slavery now is even more than before, because before they will go there and catch some people, they put them in boat, transport them to here. But now the slavery now is even more than before. Uh, I'm telling you, from the whole their 1884 Berlin Conference. Since then, they went back. After slavery, they went back to Africa. They divide Africa, you know, to themselves. They control us till the late 50 to early 60. Some African countries started, uh, having their independence, something like that. And since then, and we started like having some good leaders, but they assassinate all of them for us. All these they are CIA, you are seeing is it MI5 or 6? I don't know how to call this British organization. All of them were created for Africa. How to destroy our leaders, how to, keep Africa poor. Nothing is in Europe, nothing here. Everything is in Africa. But yet still people are suffering. I've been to Niamey before. If you see the way people are suffering there, you will shed tears. And Niger is a country that have a lot of resources, but yet still people are suffering. Go there and see the kind of military bases. You go to Agadez, US have the one of the biggest drone base there in Agadez. They even use Niger to traffic all these arms and ammunition to, when they are talking about terrorists, is that ISIS, who is sponsoring them? Do we have any arm factory in Africa? No. Everything is in Europe and America. They are the one manufacturing gun, this, that, and supplying these people. They just using them to destabilize our continent to get our resources out there. But I'm really glad that some African country we have started waking up, by kicking them out. And to be honest with you, if we don't align with Russia, one of our brother talk about Russia here. Go back to history and check about Russia. I don't think if Russia have ever intervened in Africa, you know, internal affair in any African country more than 400 years ago. It's not like Russia. They are one of the super world power before. They have every power to colonize any African country. But they didn't. They just try to support some. They try to give us support. for us to get our independence. I don't think if we have any history with
All right.
Russia,
Thank you.
but everything with this West, since this West,
Thank you, sir.
they went to our. Okay, thank you, Mr. Elvis.
God bless you, James K.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your submission. All right. Thank you very much, my people. So I'll come to give us a mandate. Give us a mandate. Please do 5 minutes and allow others to speak because they are here and the topic is a bit intensive. So I might not be able to call you and call the other person. So yeah, thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that video that you showed. Um, I think
Yes,
regardless of
I think
what
we should be playing that video all the time now
every day, every day,
every day. Yes.
because it just shows you, and like you said, Mr. Elvis, if that guy's name was on the ministerial list, I bet you he will not see anything. These are the satanic and wicked human beings. Very wicked human beings. So you can sell your Jeep to even advocate for a drug baron. You said you pray. Well, I don't know the God that revealed to him that Tinubu will win because Tinubu did not win the election. He rigged the election, sir. Baba, if the wa Tinubu will win election, ó rig ẹ̀ ni. Ó ṣòjòrò ni. Tinubu will win election. So the bank para yín ní wòlíì. Well, Ọlọ́run ló mọrú wòlíì tẹ́ jẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n Tinubu election ilé Tinubu will win ẹ̀ ó rig ẹ̀ ni. So irú ẹ̀yin wòlíì báyìí lẹ wà lára àwọn tó bá Tinubu rig election. Ṣùgbọ́n Ọlọ́run á bí yín. If this is the wickedness you guys want people to go through. So you can cry out that you sell your Jeep to campaign for a drug baron. Well, I will not judge you. I will leave it to God to judge you. But you are satanic and you are evil. You are wicked. You are an evil man. The God you pray to that told you that Tinubu win election, when Tinubu himself know that he cannot win the election and he will not win the election. And Mahmoud Yakub proved that Tinubu did not win the election, but they rigged the election. Lai Mohammed told you. You had liar said that they turn up beavers. You are now out here saying jargons. Your suffering just starts. Thank you, Mr. Elvis. I'll eat for others. Mr. Elvis, are you there?
No, no, continue now. It's after you. He said after you, then you guys can just talk to the fire.
Yeah, maybe yeah, I'm done. Let others go ahead.
Okay, may I speak because my battery is going down. I don't know if that's okay. Hello?
Yes, now. Go ahead now.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
anybody can
Yeah, I think,
yeah,
anybody can interject. That's fine. I think when Mr. Sir Alex was talking about supporting Russia and people supporting, we need to be careful what we support. That's my point. I just expect that at least we should look at things outside the box. You cannot be happy that the people in Niger right now, they feel emancipated, and then they are holding the Russian flag and jumping. And then you have a mercenary group like the Wagner group in Africa and supporting it. Are you guys thinking at all? I don't know. The USSR, I think was
Madam Rita, I think I'm sorry. I think you are mistaken. It's not
okay,
about. I'm sorry to say. Just a second, please. I'm sorry to say it's not about what's happening in Niger now. I'm talking about the continuation of the Scrabble for Africa of the Berlin Conference, 1884 to 1886. It's still happening right now. What have we benefited from the Western world?
Yes, we're not benefiting.
That's the point.
Mr. Alex, we're kind of saying the same thing, sort of, but it's a little bit different because I'm not even supporting Africa. My stance is we don't need any influence from the West, America, and Britain or France or Spain or whatever, including Russia. They are dragging Africa into this Cold War. That is my point.
Madam
Even
Rita,
if
can
we
I
know we have
interject you?
no, can I finish? Listen, USSR that people were talking, I think it's Black Panther we're talking about. Yeah, USSR was separated. I think that was 1991 by the senior George Bush. I think Margaret Thatcher and Mikhail Gorbachev, and this man from Germany, Kohl. I think it's Helmut Kohl or so. I'm not really sure, but you can search it. I think it was so USSR. They brought to break it out. I think they gave 10 countries: Ukraine, Georgia, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Russia inclusive, Kazakhstan, Armenia, Belarus, Moldova. I don't know if there's any other one part of that. Was the former USSR. And then they now went to Yugoslavia again. You now got Croatia, Slovenia, I think Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, I think Montenegro as well. I can't remember. I think Kosovo was even the last one to break. I think it was 2018. That's the newest country that was created. Because in fact, it's a different history on its own. And I think there was a time I read, it said they did those separation because they wanted to prevent war. It's the same issue we're facing in Nigeria today when it says since 2014, that 100 years amalgamation which should have been updated, and we possibly break up to several countries, just the way Russia and Yugoslavia was, USSR and Yugoslavia was broken up into these other countries. However, going back to present day, my point is that you're having, let me just put it, Asari Dokubo will not sit down in the midst of African presidents. Check that out. Segovin, that is the face of Wagner Group, is sitting down in the midst of some African presidents and now discussing what? Who is Segovin? He was a common chef now. He was common chef. I was making sausage or something. He's not sitting there in the midst because Putin has given him that power. Putin is capitalizing on this Africa to take over Africa, and the gullibility of the bad African leadership is capitalizing on it, and he will make it seem as if, oh, I am on your side. Oh, I am helping you to have your own sovereignty without Western influence. Let us not be cajoled or fooled. That's what I'm saying. Listen, we talk about this in the other day, evolving. We talk about colonial, colonialism and how it has affected the world. Present day, there's colonialism taking place. Now, it has come a different face. The Cold War between NATO and Russia. And that is what Africa needs to see. And that is why even we have what's happening in Niger now. We are happy that, okay, this is happening. But we still also have to say, hey, Russia, we know we have issues. Okay, we are doing our own coup. Okay, thank you. But please, we don't want your influence. We don't want you to be praising us or lecturing us. It's like they're not lecturing us on what we are supposed to know. And people are supporting it in this. So you don't even know what you're supporting. You don't know.
Can I interject here?
Was betrayed by the same Russians. That is why he.
Please, can I
guys?
Let me put Mr. Sarita on the track.
It's like Madam Rita's network is off.
Before
let me no, I want to put her on the track so that she will collect from that position.
Her battery has gone off. The person you want to put on track is not there.
Okay, let me add this one to it.
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Rita, let me add it. Let me put something so that you can.
You were talking about people don't know. People not knowing what they're supporting.
Go ahead, Black Panther.
Okay. I'm there. If you sit down and watch the African and Russian conference, I want you to go and watch it again and listen to everything that is said. Forget about sitting on the same table. Go and watch it again.
Can I come in and
sit down, analyze it?
Mr. Alex, before you come in, I would like to come because I've been waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, can I make my contribution, please?
Yes, carry on.
Yeah, my name
but it's Madam Rita's turn, but just interject for a few minutes.
I thought she stopped speaking already.
No. They
wanted to interject me, and
it's still her turn, but we are just interjecting for 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay. I'm just going to speak along her line, so I'll allow her to quickly round up so that I can jump in.
Okay, let me interject for 30 seconds. Madam Rita, what you are saying is right. Do you know where the problem is? The problem has been the West. I will explain that to you in 20 seconds.
So, Alex,
Anything, let me just round up in 20 seconds. Okay. I'm talking to her. Please. Okay. Madam Rita, anything you are doing in this life, try to be good. Try to be good. That's what is happening to the West now. If the West have been transparent, if they've been nice, if they've been, disciplined enough to turn our leaders back, to return stolen monies, not to open doors for them when they are running after committing havoc. If the West have been nice to us, we are the ones, the citizens, that will be fighting our leaders against the Russians or something. So the West have been so wicked. I'm talking about America, Canada, Australia, European Union. They've been very bad. They've been after resources. And they throw visa at us to come abroad, and few of us get carried away. So when you are thirsty, anybody who brings you water is your friend. Is what Africa is doing with Russia. Don't blame them too much.
Mr. Alex, thank you very much. But sorry, somebody wanted to say something.
Yeah, I thought you rounded up. I wanted to come in.
I haven't rounded up, sir.
Okay.
I didn't round up. I was just being.
Madam Rita, carry on, and just take your time so that someone else can come in later.
Yes, I'll soon round up. My point, Mr. Alex, thank you very much. But see, someone who gives you water, right? You said that the person is your friend. However, there's a motive for that person keeping you alive by giving you that water. Any sensible person right now in Africa, or anybody who has been watching this NATO and Russia-Ukraine war, anybody now that has been following, if you have been following up, let me tell you, Africa is the pawn. Africa is the pawn. That is the last straw of Putin. He says, you know what? I think we start focusing on Africa, where they have the US bases and all these are bases. Let us make sure let us start telling them the truth of what they've been doing to them, taking advantage of them. Why did they tell us since at least 30 years ago? Why is Russia not talking now? Because you are looking for ally. That is the point. So the fact that you have those information, it shouldn't. The fact that you have that information.
But why are you dodging away from the Western powers' wickedness, Madam Rita? You are dodging from it, Madam. You are dodging from it. You are.
In the beginning of my conversation,
you just throw it away like that with left hand.
Rita, you are not judging very well. You are not judging very well.
I said it in the beginning of this conversation.
You are speaking from one point.
Can I speak, please, Black Panther, please? I said in the beginning of this conversation, I said Africa I repeat, do not need the influence of Russia and the West. That's the beginning of my first statement. You can rewind this video. That's what I said. So if I am putting on Russia right now, it's because of this praise of Russia, and it's because of the way Niger are holding Russian flag in Africa. I'm not trying to exonerate America or all those people. They're all part of the game. My point is Africa cannot be drawn into the Cold War of Russia and NATO. Period. That is my point. And Africa should be aware of it. It should be aware of it. Why would somebody even say we're taking 10% of your resources? That is how they entered Africa now. Under the layer of Africa, okay, we'll do this for you. Okay, we'll take small. Now play. One single drop of water makes an ocean. Before you know it, they're already taking the oil in Niger Delta just because they want to remove a bad government, and we say hallelujah, we're praising them.
Africa has been aware of it now. South Africa went into a beating with them. Africa is aware of it.
We should be educating people on the consequences of certain decisions that is made. We should start educating people that the waste that comes, that they come to give you medicine or give you flu injections or they help you fight your war or your conflict, that they are your friends. They're not your friends. That is my point. That's what we should be preaching. Educate people to know that Russia does not have number one interest or care about Niger. If Niger don't settle, they don't care. But whatever resources they can get from Niger and also fight the US and say, okay, we are around the same base where you are. Listen, Africa is just the grass where so-called two giants are fighting. That's what we need to realize. That is what I'm preaching. Thank you.
So who's the next person? Yeah. Yes, come in. You have 5 minutes, sir. Carry on.
No, it's not 5 minutes. Maybe 7 or 10 minutes. Good evening, everybody.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I have listened to everybody with keen attention and keen interest. And Mr. Alex, I think you are one person that I respect, even Black Panther. but I think you've a little bit been emotional this evening. I'll start by saying that you talked about your lecturer telling you that democracy is the best form of government, and you are just realizing now that it's not actually the case.
That was not what I said, sir.
Yeah, you were like saying now that you
No, no.
want to
Let me
answer
let me let me quote myself. I'm not dead. I'm alive. Let me just quote
okay.
myself as I said it. I
Okay.
said that we were told in school that the worst form of democracy is better than the best form of military government.
Yeah.
And I'm beginning to question that theory. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm speaking along the same line. That's why I said maybe you're a bit emotional. You see, there's no way you can ever compare democracy to military governance. If we in Africa, if we have chosen to use democracy, if we have chosen to paint democracy as what it doesn't represent, then we cannot blame democracy for that. It's just like in the kitchen, you can have knife in the kitchen, you know, the woman in the house or the man in the house, you can decide to use that knife to cook for your family, but you can still decide to use that knife to hurt each other if you want to. That is what democracy is all about. Now, let's not forget that without democracy, we can't even stay in this kind of platform and be discussing the problem of Africa, discussing the problem of Nigeria relatively freely in parentheses. Without democracy, we would not have people, members of Labour Party today in the National Assembly. Without democracy, we would not even have a Peter Obi contesting any case in the courts in the first place. So anyhow you look at it, the problem is not democracy. The problem is the manner with which we are implementing our kind of democracy. That is what the problem is about. It's not democracy as a contest. Then, talking about this Russian US thing, there was a man that spoke. I think I missed his name. I think he gave the most balanced view. You see, for the fact that we are against what the West is doing, that doesn't mean we should be supporting Russia. I think the way we should be looking at the West and Russia is that which of these two countries is more evil than the other? And if you ask me at any point in time, it is the Eastern Bloc, the Russia, the Chinese, and the other people in the East. They are more evil than the people in the West. Now we have to get it clear. It is not an exoneration of saying that this is better than this. No, I'm saying which one is worse. I'm comparing them in the negative term because both of them they have the same interest in Africa. They want to use the interest, they want to use Africa to propagate whatever good they think will be beneficial to their country. And now we must have to get this clear, very, very clear. When we talk about the West breaking down Russia, destroying Yugoslavia, but we are also saying the same thing. That's exactly what we are doing today now. Because we keep saying that the West is not interfering into what's going on in Nigeria. The West, they are keeping mute. We can see the way the Fulanis and everybody, what they are doing to the other part of the country. But this is exactly what was going on in Russia and then. And the West, the only way they could tame Russia was to make sure that these little groups in Russia, they have to free them and give them their own country. That forms the basis of their intervention. Because then they called, what is his name again? Mikhail Gorbachev, yeah, that was his name. They called him to a round table, but he wouldn't listen. Allow this ethnic minority be. They're in your country. Allow them to exercise freedom. Let them live the way they want to live. But Gorbachev will have none of that. And the West, they have to look for a means, and that was what brought all those countries down. You can look at Yugoslavia, Croatia, those minor countries that came out from that separation. It was because they were being oppressed, because a section of those countries decided to unleash mayhem on the people that tend to be less powerful in those countries. Exactly what is going on today in Nigeria. And I'm sure if the West, if they have to also intervene in Nigeria now and make that, so because some of us have been clamoring, let the North go their way. Let the North go their way. And we know that these guys in the North, they will never allow us to go. But if the West, they can do it. What about if they come to intervene today? They know how to do it. After doing that, and at the end of the day, 20, 30, 50 years from today, somebody will come up and be saying it was the West that destroyed Nigeria, it was the West that broke up Nigeria. Now, we must have to we put both factors on the same plane and judge. We are not judging which is better, we are judging which is worse. And I can tell you at any point in time, it is Russia. Because relatively, even as at today, this is 2023, can all of us that are speaking from America, from UK, from wherever, can you do this from Russia? It is only one phone call Agbado will put to Putin, and Putin will be very glad to sacrifice any of us. Just one phone call, and Putin will be glad to sacrifice any of us. But somehow, the West, relatively, you can still do some things. You can still agitate. You can still go to your embassy. You can still claim freedom of, association, freedom of movement.
Can I interject? Can I interject?
No, I just need to round up. Unless if you are not.
No, you will continue. I'm not saying long. You see,
okay.
You are talking about the West because they brought democracy for you to align with them. The purpose for which they brought the democracy to you is to take over the destiny and to channel it to where it will be profitable to them. That democracy you see, you had your own system of government before, and you are not talking about it. You are talking about the person that you've not seen, that have not been part and parcel, have not obstructed the channel of prosperity in Africa.
See,
government. Yeah.
Are you true? Now let's put the facts on the table. What I'm saying is that I'm not disputing whether they brought democracy, whether they destructed our government, whether they destructed our style of governance. But all I'm saying is this. Even that democracy that they brought to destruct our kind of governance that was bringing prosperity for us, if we are implementing that democracy according to what it means, I'm very sure things will not be the way they are now. That is one. Because it is that same democracy they are using in their country to develop their country. It is not a different form of government. It is not as if they brought something to us and they are not using what they brought to us. Democracy, yes, it doesn't favor us. But the biggest question is that, are we actually doing democracy the way it should be? Are we obeying the rule of law? Are we doing what democracy dictates? That's for that. Then, still talking about Russia, the point is this. I understand what you guys are saying, that the West doesn't mean well for. Yes, they don't. They don't mean well for us. Exactly. But that is not a guarantee to start supporting Russia. That is not a guarantee in any way to start supporting Russia against the West. So exactly what do we want? Okay, we are thankful now that the Russians, they are in Niger, the people are using their flag, blah, blah, blah. And in the same vein, we are also quarreling that the West is intervening into the politics of Africa. Let's take this democracy, for example. Does democracy dictate that one person can remain in power for 30 years? Yes, even if we want to sing the praises of people like Mugabe. But for how many years? He kept winning the election year and year and year in, year out, every 4 years, with over 90-something%. It's not the same thing we are fighting for. Is it not the same mandate we are fighting now? That's the same thing we are fighting against. And that's what that same Mugabe has been. Look at Rwanda, for example. Beautiful country. The man is doing well, excellently well. But how come he has been adjusting the constitution? I think he's been there now for the third term. He has been adjusting the constitution and he keeps winning. He keeps adjusting the constitution during every election cycle. I'm not talking about whether he's developing Rwanda or not. Of course, he's doing excellently well. But this area of power shift, this area of not believing that another person can do it, we should question ourselves. In that area, that is not democracy. And also, if we talk about Libya, Libya was doing excellently well. But let's not forget that Mugabe had no, what was his name? The Libyan man. He had no opposition. He was there for how many years? Him alone. And you keep winning and winning and winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. And that's exactly the same thing we are fighting against now. Because it's the same thing that's going on. It's just that in Nigeria, it's not one person, but it's that same set of people that have been
No, my
domineering.
brother, I want to interject you for 1 minute, please. Please.
Okay.
That experiment you just made just now for me is a political boogaboo that we need to poo-poo now. My brother, Gaddafi, if you talk about Gaddafi, I'm not against dictatorship, democracy. With what you have since 1960 or since 1983 or since 1999 in Nigeria, looking at what Gaddafi did in Libya, please don't even say it. Or looking at what the Emiratis are doing. No, let me just round up. It's still your turn. You have like 3 minutes to round up.
Yeah.
Nigerian democracy, according to Donald Trump, our country is the shit hole. It's nothing to write home about. A dictator who can make his currency equal to the dollar and euro. Come on now. And so on and so forth. So for me, Gaddafi is justified. Please, you have 3 minutes to round up so that someone else can talk.
Alex, listen, like I told you, I'm your big fan. I'm your supporter anytime, any day. I think this is about the only time I'm kind of disagreeing with your position. You need to understand where I'm coming from. I have not in any way jettisoned what Gaddafi has done in Libya. I just said he has been very, very excellent. He has done everything. He has ticked all the boxes, apart from the fact that he wants to remain a life president. So shouldn't I talk about that? Yeah, I have to talk about that. That's what I'm saying. And in the same vein, I've also told you guys that I am not in any way supporting the West against Russia. I'm not even comparing which of them is better. You can look at that word. I'm not saying between the West and Russia, which is better. No, I'm saying which of them is worse. That's to tell you that both of them are not, their influences are not good. But which one has a more detrimental effect on Africa? That is what we should be looking at. Not the one that is better for Africa. No.
You see, let me interject here. Let me interject here. It seems
please, let's round up. He has just 1 minute.
No. Let me interject here. It seems most of us are looking at this issue in a very selfish manner. We are not going deeper and trying to use history and align it with what is happening in the present. Look at what he's saying now. That, the democracy they gave you are not be detrimental to you. Are you telling me that that's not detrimental to you? Do you think they gave you democracy for you to excel, for you to get prosperous? Is that what you're thinking? You are not asking questions. Why are you not doing it very well? Why are they adopting illegality and everything? Why are they not speaking on illegality? Why are they not speaking on rigging? Why are they accepting the government that rigged into a state like Nigeria? Why are they not talking that? Why are they saying that? It's national issue. It's sovereignty.
I don't think you guys are reacting to what I'm saying at all. Now, let me just round up.
Please round up in 30 seconds, please, so that someone else can come in.
Yeah, let me round up on these points you guys just raised. I have told you the West is bad. So why are you still saying I'm not talking about them? I'm only saying don't make the Russians look better than the West. That is what I'm saying. And concerning this election we are talking about, the West and other countries, they are looking for where to take advantage from. And if we as a people decide to make ourselves vulnerable and vulnerable, they will take advantage of us. They will take advantage of us. They didn't ask the guy to rig the election. We did it.
Thank you. Sir, let's allow somebody else. We have a senior man in the house, Mr. Ike, right? Please, can you talk to us, sir?
Thank you, my brother Alex. Really, honestly, I do not really have enough to say on this because I believe that this international politics we are trying to play, it's good that also we go back to history and understand and learn and move on with our lives. The reason why each and every one of us went to school is for us to learn and to be able to use what you have learned to better the life of mankind, and also to expand that knowledge to other people that are following, you know. So I think that, like the last speaker have just finished, what we are talking about is the lesser evil. Like he gave a simple example here, which settles everything. And like I would have said, what we are doing here right now, this you cannot do this in Russia. It's never possible. There is no freedom in Russia. They don't have democracy. That's what we are saying.
Simple. I don't know why is that so difficult.
It's not a rocket science. We are not arguing what they can do, or what the interest they have, or what they're going to give us, or which interest do they have. No, but I am talking about freedom of life for everybody.
Can you do this in Russia now?
We're talking about Russia right now here because we have democracy, because we have freedom. And if the people who are practicing the democracy in Africa decided to sell themselves to the same Western people who came back to take what we have, to develop their place, and who also opened their doors for the corrupt politicians to come back with what they have studied, to keep it in their place and welcome them in their place, it's because we allow them to do that.
Simple. What's difficult there?
It is we that give the politician who stole that money and went and dump it in the eastern and in the west, and come back again. The traditional institution who is supposed to be the anchor of the people in the village and the rural areas, to make people understand the dividend of democracy and to teach people discipline and the way of life. The traditional rulers will give the same man who stole the whole money of a state, you give him a chieftaincy title.
Alex, please, 1 minute. Alex, can you tell me how the West influenced our Obaseki not to tar the road in those states? Can you tell me the influence of the West on Obaseki? For example.
Yes, I can tell you the influence of the West on Obaseki. I can tell you.
To rig the election.
I can tell you the influence of the West on Obaseki from not tying our road in those states. If you allow me for 1 minute.
Let's be more factual, please. Let's be more factual.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, my dear brother. Yes. If I'm a governor somewhere, and you know me as a governor, and you are a higher authority, and you preach against stealing, you say people cannot go through your compound like the national airport with more than $10,000 without declaring it, and I come with $10 million as a governor to your country, and you open your door for me, and you say you are very listen. I'm going somewhere. Let me round up, and you come and tell me you are anti-narcotic, anti-money laundering, anti-this, anti-that. You know I stole this money. You know. You keep it for me and give me a leaflet that I have $10 million in your compound. Please. Are you not a criminal too?
Alex, please, that's not how it works. Don't.
Well, we are no. That's what Gaddafi said, that the day Africa decide to be honest with themselves, they will be great. This is the way of Gaddafi.
Let me tell you the way it works. Nobody carry raw cash and take to this Western world. No,
and the pastor's private jet was used to carry money under Goodluck Jonathan. Excuse me.
Now, listen, please. They use big corporations to carry this money overseas. They've channeled it through big corporations. That's one. And
okay, excuse that. Excuse that explanation, but at least the money came in is the point. Forget about how it came in.
Yeah, anyhow, you still look at the West. Let me still tell you, when this money still came in and it is also investigated, they still return the money back. The question you should ask yourself is this: why will your people take this money in the first place? Why?
I'm asking. That's why we are here.
Why don't they love themselves enough to use this money? Why is it that Obaseki did not love himself enough, love his people enough to use this money to develop those states? Let's even assume your
can I answer that question?
It takes 10 million to the US every day. Let's assume that theory is right.
Can I answer the question?
Ask yourself the same question. Why is the West not stealing those money and bringing to your Africa?
Can I answer the question? Can I answer the question so that you'll be more clearer how they did it? You see, when a man comes into your atmosphere and changes a system that curb excesses and corruption and now take over your destiny. And now in return to grant you access to your resources, give you independence. But it was not, they didn't give you independence, but look at what they did. They brought a replacement of your system that they know it will be corrupt. They will corrupt it because they give you details about the system. Now, they took away your system that called corruption and brought a system that you cannot run perfectly as they that produces that system. So when they brought the system, they know that you cannot run the system that they brought to you. It will take you long, but they are going to obstruct it by doing what? Making sure that your educational structure and some structure that you have does not function.
Let me just.
That is the way. No. Let us be holistic. Let us not just come here and ask questions that.
No,
how did you do it? How did you tell the man that we have the heart?
Yeah, let me debunk that. Let me debunk that, Black Panther. You know, the way we talk about this West and democracy, we speak as if it was only Africa that they came to. They did the same thing. See, is it not the same people that colonized Singapore, Malaysia, Korea? Even when they were leaving this Abu Dhabi, when they were leaving, the people were begging them not to go. And the UK people said, we have to leave. It is time. Colonialism, we are done with it. They were begging them in Abu Dhabi not to go. They started paying them to continue being their colonial master. It's there in history. They did the same thing in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh. Did they not do the same thing there? We are saying this thing as if it was only in Africa. Now, I am not singing the praises of the West in any way. But let's not celebrate Russia because of what is happening.
I'm not celebrating Russia. Do you know the gravity of the offense France has committed in Francophone African territories? The wickedness, especially France. Do you know?
Alex, you wait.
Our senior brother, Mr. Ike, said something since that he lived in some of these countries for 13 years.
Alex, you wait.
Maybe you can tell us better. Okay, continue.
Alex, let's get it clear. All these atrocities they are committing, my brother, I'm not oblivion of them. Have I said so? I have said they are worse. That is why I said let's not talk about which is better. Let's talk about which is worse.
I'm allowing you to land. I want you to land, finish landing so that I can tell you and debunk what you just said now.
Yeah, having said that, let me tell you I'll tell you a very simple thing. No matter where the argument goes, I'm going to say this, and this is the borderline of the whole argument. The truth is that we are the greatest problem for ourselves.
Of course, you are right on that one. Yes.
Yeah, I'll use one very simple conclusion. Alex Edonimewu-Wekere, NIFOR, Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research. We established that institute. Malaysia, that the West also colonized, they came to NIFOR in our Edo State to learn palm kernel production in the 70s. And today, our own NIFOR, we have run it aground. But that same oil palm that we taught the Malaysians that the white also colonized, they are now the largest exporter. People that started cultivating this crop
they are now in the second world. Yeah, I know.
So why did the West not stop them?
So so let's can we let somebody else who have not talked since to talk? Is anybody there?
The 1 month statement. The borderline is that we are the greatest problem of ourselves. Simple.
Okay. Alex, is anybody there that have not said anything since?
Alex, I'm not finished. It was interjection.
Okay. Sorry, sir. Carry on, sir.
Can I continue?
Yes, sir. Carry on, sir.
Okay. Brother Alex, let me give you a simple example. People like you and people like me and people like the people in this panel today quote me, take it to the bank. The traditional ruler of your place will never see you, will never recognize you because you are not a money bag. I remember when I was growing up, it is the governors and the commissioners and the minister. They are the people that go to pay courtesy call to traditional rulers in Nigeria. Today, it is the traditional rulers that go and begin to look for governors. There, the traditional rulers will leave their stool and go to begin to look for the governor, begin to look for minister, begin to look for commissioner. They have all become politicians. They have forgotten their institutional role as traditional rulers and custodian of traditions and culture. So, which means people like me and you, if you do not bring money in the bags right now in Nigeria, quote me and take it to the bank. Nobody, all those people who are begging for traditional title, you're not going to get it. They don't care even where the money is coming from. So, what I want you to understand is this. My brother talked about Malaysia. What of Bahamas here? Cocoa plantation, they came to Nigeria like palm kernel and cocoa plantation. They came to Nigeria to pick it. And look at the small island like Bahamas. Where is Nigeria today? Where is Nigeria today in palm kernel? That's what we're talking about. So, P2B was in the system. I want to close with this example. P2B was in the system of Nigerian politics. And the time came, which is this year, God decided that he's going to use this man to liberate Nigeria. He came out of that system. Why are they fighting him? Because he knows everything about the system. And that is why he is now the biggest politician in the whole of Africa. Because he has led me and you to know and expose everything that they do. Because he was there before. But his case is different because upon say he was there, they could not tie him to anything. So my brothers and sisters, I am not, listen, Russia and America, I don't have any, I do not have respect for any of them or Europe, because I know that whatever they have today came from African continent, they used it to develop their place. My problem is with our leader. Let me give President Sassou Nguesso of Congo Kinshasa. How many years has he been ruling in Congo? How many years? Only one man. Only one man. In a population of about, let's say, 10, 15, 20 million people. Only one man.
Sir, are you aware France is the one installing that man there against the wish of the people?
But that's the point I am saying. You know,
Alex, let's part finish now. I want to talk after the film.
I understand what I understand. Yes, it is France. Why? Because they are using him to get what they want, right? Because he decided that they're going to use him. If he says no, that I am not going to be used against my own people, what are they going to do? That's the point. If you accept to be used, like we are talking about our country, Nigeria, right now. Somebody said here that the man in the National Rock is a pawn to the West. Yes. If they know that they are getting what they want from this man, why do they not want to bring out his FBI refused to release his criminal record? This is what we are saying. But if are you telling me that if P2B is there today, and P2B told America that you have to release that criminal record of Bola Tinubu, will America say no? No. Because Nigeria as a country, the population of Nigeria will stand with their president. And we're going to fight it to any level. That's the point. So let us not drag the issue. Russia, America, European, whatever, everything they do is for their own selfish interest. But it is we, the politicians, the leaders, the Africans, that allow them to use everything we have, to use it against ourselves and fight ourselves and destroy ourselves on their own benefit. Imo State, I'm from Imo State. What the governor of Imo State, who never won an election, a man who came forth, became governor, what he's doing right now in Imo State is intimidation. It's even the traditional rulers, traditional institution we're talking about. Everybody that is going to pay homage to because he's using power, he's using government forces to intimidate people, threaten your life. So everybody now is saying that Hope Uzodinma is who I know in 2024 election. What he's doing in Imo State, is it America that is telling him to do what he's doing in Imo State? No. I raise my case.
Okay, Alex, let me speak on it. Let me speak. You see, you see, international politics and history have to go in colonial, you have to go with themselves, pari passu. And if we are bringing history here, we should not compare, we should make sure we compare it in a very good way, that the comparison should be, if it is 70%, it should be 77%. Not when you are comparing a state that is 20% with a state that is 90%. And because they are colonized, you say now, oh, they are the same thing. No, let me state my fact. I want to state my fact here that I believe in Africanism. I believe in an African system, and I've said it right here, point blank, that until Africa know themselves and know who a black man is, because a black man is the jewel of the world. Until Africa get down together and talk together and pave a way and have a system that will work for themselves, a true African system whereby our traditional rulers, who have been the custodians of the tradition and the word Africa, who have been carrying from the day it was pronounced by our creator, who have been carrying until they are inclusive in the constitution, making it an African constitution that will guide us towards a free and fair society where we can be able to tell the world we are ready for the world, we'll be able to tell the world and choose whose partnership that we want. From there, we begin to see the light. I want to come from it. I'm not supporting Russia. Neither am I supporting whoever, the Western world, Europe, the NATO, whatever. But what I'm trying to say here, the reason why we are like this is because the system that we would have improved, the system that we would have improved to say to the world was obstructed. When that was obstructed, they brought in a system and they corrupt the leadership that we have and brought in a system that we don't know, which is alien to us. But because most of us have gone to the Western world, we are educated, and we have seen, oh, it has the right. We would have, if we had been done and improved on our system, we would have included any other thing that you see in the Western world in our system to make our system be acceptable to the world. But when you bring a system that you cannot work on, you give me a cheese to eat that will turn my stomach around. That is a problem. That is what brought about corruption in Africa. And I want to state here, in the entire African nation, has there been any African nation that has practiced true democracy to the latter that has succeeded? Let anybody state it here. Any African countries that are taking the true democracy that America practice, tell me where it has been practiced to the latter that they have succeeded. We keep on saying that will Obama tell us how we are going to rule in our state? They are telling you because the system you have practiced has been corrupted, and your leaders go there to get the blueprint on how you are going to rule your people. When the head is corrupt, corruption does not start from the head; it goes down. That is why your state governor can do anything, because it starts from the top. This is what we call an idea that is not yours, but you want to make it yours. It will never work. You keep on having an Africa whereby you be having war all the time. Why are they telling you that when it is suiting them, they will tell you that we cannot intervene in a sovereign state?
But when they see black, they'll call it white. They'll tell you that, we will tell them that, but this man that you are supporting is corrupt. Why are they not saying that this guy should get out of there? Because this guy that is in power will cause enmity among the tribes in the country right there. Why are they not talking on that issues? Africa can take their own and decide who they can have relationship with. If an African country can take out and can ousted a sitting president that is a demonic president, and they decided to choose who they will form alliance with it, that is an African, that is a governmental issue. That is a country issue. They decided, not the alien people decided for them. But what we have now is the colonial master are deciding for us in Africa. That is why we are not stable. It is not an African man's problem. It is the idea they sell to us that we imbibing that is causing us to be confused among ourselves, that is causing us to hate among ourselves. Why did they choose the Fulani? Why did they choose the Fulani? Why did they sell that hatred into the Fulani to hate his own brother? Why? When we come, what is our problem now? Is it not the unitary system? And when they say, let us change it, the Fulani will say no. They will say, oh, because if we change it, we'll be underdeveloped. Why? How did they know? And how are they going to focus that they will remain underdeveloped for a long time? If not for this system that was sold into their brain that they should not give power to the South. It is the same thing that is happening in Cameroon. It is the same thing that is happening in Angola. It's the same thing that's happening in so many African countries. They use the weakness to make leadership in an African country. They give you a system that is corrupted by your own leader, because your own leader is greedy. Why are they greedy? Because of the alliance they form with that Western world. That is to tell you that the greediness comes from somewhere and from the European country. But what I'm saying is that Africans have a right, if they can take power to themselves and form a system on their own and decide on whoever they want to have bilateral relationship or trade relationship. If they want to have it with Russia and they are in charge of their destiny, so be it. Why all this bula balu about Russia? Russia have their own system, and their system is for their own people that hold the sovereignty to fight for their own system to be right. Russia is a very big colony, and the people that made the colony what it is, they are still holding on to power. They've been living there. Who break them? Is it not the same America that break them? Do you think they're happy with America? So why are we coming here to say, oh, will the Western people tell Edo State governor to be corrupt, not to build road? Because they gave you a system which your leaders go there to bring to the round table, which your governor will sit on the round table with the leadership, the president, and you tell them what it is. Why are they not talking? They are not talking. They are refusing to talk. They are refusing to come to the round table. We tell them about, let us have state police. They said no, because they are collecting the money of the state police into their pocket monthly. It is because this system that we have, it is not our own. It is bound to be corrupted, and it is bound to change the ideal of any human being that gets into power. Why is it that when any Nigerian man that is good, Oshimole, for example, he went in there, what happened to him? He was corrupted. What do you think corrupt him? You think it's one man that corrupt him? It is the system the white man sold to you. That is how it comes. They don't need to tell you, but when you are mute, when you are in the system, you are bound to be to align with the system, and you are bound to be corrupt. You cannot, if you are not corrupt in there, they will throw you to the lagoon. That is how the system is. It's a vampire system that eats into the bone marrow of every African.
See,
that is why we are fighting to make sure that Obi comes in, because the mindset of Obi has changed every Nigerian, and we are looking forward to take our birthright back. That is what we should be thinking about. But not to say Russia is bad.
Look at the common House of Rep.
common House of Rep members from the Labour Party.
Russia before.
They are all quiet now.
Tell every one of us to stop
Black
saying
Panther.
that. Oh,
Black Panther.
wait, let me land. Let me end.
Let me say
I am
something.
telling every
The question
Nigerian
is
now.
that, listen,
Let me land. You can
Black
talk.
Panther, you'll be talking for like 11 minutes now. Can
Yes,
somebody
Black
Okay,
interject?
let me finish. Let me finish.
just
Then
Black
you can
Panther,
interject.
only you cannot just
Only
be
one
talking
sentence.
now.
Yeah.
People can
Okay.
come in. You'll be talking
Only
now
one
for almost 12
sentence,
minutes.
and that sentence is this: Black Panther. You see everything you have analyzed. I don't disagree with anybody. The negative influence of the West in Africa, but the only thing I keep saying that we ought to be ashamed of ourselves as a people for allowing the influence of another person to supersede the love we have for our own people. That is all I have to say. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves.
It is because of the colonial era. The history affected us.
Yeah, because we are the only people that were colonized.
We are African. Forget about, look, Africa is the jewel of the world. The resources here is 10 times that is in Singapore. If you don't know, go and know it now.
Okay. Let me address that thing, my brother. You are the only people that be colonized. What the Asian tigers did was to come to a roundtable talk with these colonial powers in the 80s, late 70s, and they engaged themselves in an international diplomacy roundtable talk that, please, this is what we can allow. This is what we cannot allow. This is where our political leaders in Africa have failed. The Asian tigers like Singaporeans, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, they came together and told the West, told the Western powers that we will not allow you to do certain things anymore. We want to develop ourselves. But our leaders have failed us. We know that. So let me.
We ought to be ashamed of ourselves.
My dear brother, Mr. Black,
ought to be ashamed of themselves. Africa ought to be ashamed, not we.
Yes, Mr. Black Panther, you have rounded up now. There's nobody who have not talked apart from me. I've missed my 10 minutes. So it's my turn. So let me just talk now so that I can give room to people who are just joining in. For me, I'm not a pro-Russia person. Don't get it twisted. I am an anti-corruption. I am anti-wickedness. And I am a pro-compassionate leadership person. Very pro-compassionate. Something has been under your control since 1884 to 1886. The scramble and partition. You divided Africa like a bushmeat. You lied that you gave us flag independence in the 1950s and 60s due to the revolutionary movement of our nationalists, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, what's his name, Emery Lumumba, and a few others, Azikiwe and so on. But in reality, you did not leave. You've been on ground since all these years. What have you done? Rather than aiding, I'm not saying you should come and build our country for us, but you are aiding people who stood up to build their country. You find a way to sponsor people and you take them out. How was Sankara taken out and killed? How was Lumumba taken out? It was all planned in Belgium and France and in England. So this is my problem now. People are trying to embrace Russia with all the dangers involved. Who cares about danger right now? With the evil that has been going on. Where was Western powers when Lekki Togates, children were against international rules of engagement, even at war? The Roman Locuta law that says that even in the face of a war, you don't shoot harmless citizens, civilians. It's against international law, but the international community kept quiet. That was enough to intervene in Nigeria and pick up Nigerian presidents and try them for crime against humanity. Where were they? Where was Canada and US? Where was Australia? They all kept quiet. And now you are telling me about the danger of embracing Putin and his buying machines. I don't know if I'm making sense. So if the West have been there for us in any little way they could, like speaking for the people when it's important, when they don't have anything to gain, when there's no interest at stake, we waited for them many times. We were in the streets protesting. A lot of us were taken out unjustly. where they ought to even make statements in the African Union, European Union. They all kept quiet because of oil, because of gold and diamond. And you allow these leaders to also bring stolen funds made from education, made from a road infrastructure, made from a, you know these monies are stolen. You return them after 20 years, after using them as you've made money 100 million times. You come and hypocritically tell us Abacha loot is here. Who is a fool? So if the West have been good people, we will be the one chasing out Russians. I don't know Russia way of, I don't know their modus operandi. I don't know the dangers involved with the so-called man that is sitting in charge with our leaders. I mean, no, but right now, let me just finish with this. Right now, you don't blame people who are taking decisions out of hunger and starvation because you have not been in a position to try to use the sea to go to Europe for a better life, running from insecurity, from hunger, from disease and death. So it's easy for us to sit there in our comfort zone and blame people for embracing what they don't even know is dangerous to them. Meanwhile, the West, who's supposed to be our friends, our brothers and sisters, so to say, all these years, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, and so on and so forth, what have they been doing with us? Looting us, watching us die, watching us suffer, watching us hungry, watching us going to the sea, watching our leaders loot money, drinking with them, and you expect there will not be a repercussion someday? There will be a repercussion, and it's beginning to happen. So for me, I don't blame anybody who chooses to embrace anything in spite of the dangers, because you have been in charge as a Western power. You failed woefully. So that's it. Let me go to another topic if there's still time. I think I spoke now for 6 minutes or so. The rest of you will be using 9 minutes or 10 minutes. As for the other topic, you guys were talking about just now, our leaders have failed us. I know. I will never blame foreigners for my own problem. But it doesn't mean I should not point out the fault of these foreigners when the need arises. For me, our leader, I have been a critic of Nigerian political class, and I still stand on my ground. They are evil. If anything happens, they will be the ones that will be consumed first, because the judgment will start from the altar of politicians. And it's coming pretty soon. It happened in Burkina Faso. It happened now in Mali. It's Niger Republic. So next there will be Nigeria. There's no two ways about it. You cannot allow free and fair elections. You cannot and I have never seen where a human being will just hate his own fellow human being, his own fellow color, his own brother and sister that look like you. You loot money with impunity. You just allow your own country, your own state, not to have basic infrastructure like education. The cheapest thing you can do as a government is roads and education, electricity. Basic things, a conducive atmosphere for young people to bring their entrepreneurial skills to bear. So the wickedness is like when Satan fell from paradise. It fell among Nigerian politicians. We are dealing with a set of devils, Lucifers, with 7 horns in their head. So we have to find a way to sort that out. I'll leave it here and allow the next person to talk.
Regardless, the system has been with them for 60 years. They are used to it. They cannot change. It is because of the system they gave us that is alien to us. That is why we are used to it now. For us to change, we have to fight and take our country.
Yeah, Blackwater, thank you. Thank you. Let's move to people that just came in. I'm seeing Busy Brains, Madam Rita, and Takoma. Let's go to Busy Brains first. Please, are you there?
I'm here. Good evening. Good
Please
morning.
talk to us in like 8 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning to all of you. Very passionate discussion going on, and I could not resist to join. I've been listening, but I just had to join and put in my 2 cents. I noticed somebody was asking about, is it the Western powers that make our leaders corrupt? I will say, in a way, yes, if we understand how it works. You see, and that is the reason why they are passionately fighting against Mr. Peter Obi. The reason being, he is not compromised. He has a strength in character that he has nothing to lose. He comes across as somebody that will see it to the end. And as his nickname implies Okote, which is this rock, isn't it? So he comes across very stubborn. And you can see that from the way he projects from the way he puts his words across and his mannerism. So for a politician with good intention, with a clean name, if they escape and go into power, they will be tested. If they have nothing to be blackmailed or to be compromised over, they will create a problem for them to compromise them. They will get them compromised. They won't come back and tell us that they have been compromised in one way or the other. And there are a lot of things, a lot of currency that they can use to compromise. It's not about money now. It is about things that are taboo to the culture and to the system. They will get them to do those things and use it over their heads to implicate them, to get them to do their work. It might not be them that would do it directly. They have their handlers within the Nigerian polity that look like you and like me, to do their bidding where these politicians are concerned. And once they get them compromised, that is the end of it. Then they will sink to their dictates. How can you explain years and years of subsequent government that a country with 6 refineries, with each government that come in, it is the power, the ability to work those refineries continue to degenerate to the point where we are now importing fuel that we export out for them to refine and bring back to us, and we pay them more money for something that was taken from our own land. How can you explain that if there are no other stronger powers at play? How can you? So for those who are in power, Mr. Peter Obi has been in power, and I want to believe that he resisted the lure. He was one of the few that was able to resist being compromised. Hence, the danger for them should he go into power, because they've got no slippery slope to hold against him. And I don't know who I would be offering their go. That is the same thing that happened with Donald Trump. They have nothing to compromise to hold him to say they have nothing to compromise to evidence he's been compromised. They could not hold him. And just as an example, one of the ways they can compromise you, get you to sleep with a child and put a gun on the child's head and fight the child, take a video of it, and anytime you refuse to dance to their tune, they will release it. That is how they will hold you between the brokers. Tell me, how can such a person come out with all clear conscience to act in your own interest? These are the things that are fighting against us. So when we say there is an international dimension to our problems, this is it. So we need someone who is able to go against the internal establishment and the shadow government within our own Nigeria, to be able to fight those within and those without. Our Nigerian governors, they know the right thing to do. This corruption that they are being corrupt, it is not ordinarily. It's not ordinary, because I know people that you would even vouch for with your life. But the moment they go there, they change. And you start wondering, why? What is it that will make them turn their back on their fellow citizens, on their own people? It's like they've taken a pact. Your politicians will not give you money. I mean, they would rather that money be used. They would take you to beer parlor and go and drink. They would not give you that money to benefit you and your family. They would rather corrupt you in one way or the other than to do what will bring sanity to their immediate environment. They now bring those lopsided they brings lopsided developments, things that do not. Just look at what what Tinubu is doing. He came into power, and what is he doing? Saying that borrowing how many billions of naira to dash people. What is wrong with taking that billion to just refine, just generate, just clean up one refinery, bring it back to life, and you tell me that these people are normal? He is a proper stooge. That is why his presence on that stool benefits who? It's not you and I. It benefits them. It benefits who the puppet master is. And if Tinubu, who is
Madam, please, you have 2 minutes now.
Okay. So if he is seen as the puppet master, in Nigerian context, Nigerians say he's the most intelligent thing next to sliced bread. He's the greatest and whatever. So can you imagine him being a puppet to anybody? We cannot fathom that. But he is greatly one, because how can you envisage the policies that he kicked against when he claimed to fight for democracy to be the first thing that he will come out and institute on the people without any clear conscience of putting things in place to manage the suffering of the people? Do they care? Just go and see Anyway, let me just rest my case here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma. Madam Rita, are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, I know your phone, your battery was down. Because you said you had 7%.
Mr. Alex, Takuma deal with you since you never let him talk.
Oh, really? Sorry, I did not see that. Okay. Madam Rita, please, I'll come back to you.
No problem.
Bread, ma'am, please talk to us.
Okay, all right.
Gingerbread man, you there? Okay, it's not ready. Then you can move on, Mr. Alex. Thank you so much.
Yes, Madam, talk to us, man, please.
Okay. Okay. There's one thing that needs to be established. The West would always exist. The West would always want to look for allies. They will always want to look for somebody to do businesses. When I say the West, like Madam Patricia said, call the name America, the EU, North America.
Can you hear me, sir?
Oh, I think somebody's is that Tacoma?
I don't know what the one.
Hello.
I can't hear anything. Just go on, madam.
Oh, okay. Like I was saying, sorry,
Tacoma, please, can you mute yourself, please? All right. Okay, carry on, ma'am.
Okay. Like I was saying, like the West would always exist. Like in North America, the entire EU, they would always exist. They will always be there. They will always want to look for allies. They will always want to look for some sort of economic trade, with Africa. But there's one thing that is always there as well, which I think that we need to know because we're here to educate ourselves. Russia and China have always used Africa as their battleground. It's repeating itself again. Any African leader who fraternizes with Russia, America doesn't like anybody who is friends with their enemies. They will always go after that gullible African leader. For example, Idi Amin of Uganda. When he was doing what he was doing, it was fine. He was talking, saying what he was saying about the Queen of England, and it was okay. But the moment he started fraternizing with the Russians, their plan was to take him down. But he kind of outsmarted them, and the Saudi Arabians helped him escape out of Uganda. So it's still the same. Even Museveni, the traitor, Museveni was used to bring Gaddafi down. You see what I'm saying? Anybody who is fraternizing with the Russians, the West that I just listed their names now, would always want to bring that person down, either by taking them out or removing them out of power, or taking them, or they will end up being in exile.
Madarita, I don't understand that where you got that history from.
My dear, please go and look for the history. I read it from
Gaddafi was
somewhere.
close to Russia.
I did not pick it from somewhere.
Who
I know what I'm
fraternized?
saying.
Uganda fraternized with Russia. Russia brought Uganda and it flew to Saudi Arabia. Is that what you're saying?
What are you saying?
You said fraternizing now.
Listen, please listen
Black
very
Panther,
well. I said anybody, especially, let me just use Africa now. Any African president or leader who is fraternizing with the Russians, the West, one of their main aim will pull you down. They must pull you down, either by taking you out or you end up in Russia.
What's the morality in that?
What's
the morality in that?
Listen, this is history. When you interject,
I don't understand that history. I never come across that history
you need
before.
to listen. You need to listen. You need to listen. And if you don't have to say you believe me. These are things that I've studied and I've read. That's why I'm saying it. You can even get some sources from the internet. You can get there. You can go to the library, read these things, ask people that were living, anybody Uganda or somebody that's from Libya. They will tell you, people that have lived there they will tell you things that even the media doesn't tell you. That's what that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the information I have known, not just like today. It's something that I'm reading through, and I'm trying to understand why are we going through what we're going through now. You need to understand your enemy before you know how to handle them. So whatever I'm saying now, I'm not just saying it by guesswork. Let me just put it out there. I made an example. Idi Amin, when he started, the West did not disturb him. He was committing all those atrocities. It's because they were telling him to stop those nonsense. He now decided, okay, you people are my enemies. I'm not going to do business with you guys again. He went to meet the Arabs. He's a Muslim. And then next thing, he started fraternizing with the Russians. The books might not, what you see, the movie might not tell you those things, but that's exactly what happened. So he already got information that he was going to be taken down. And that's why he smartly, and where did he get information from? Where do you think he got information from? From the Russians, of course. And that's why he smartly fled Uganda. And he lived in exile in Saudi Arabia for the rest of his life till he passed on. Museveni was used to pull down Gaddafi, in case you don't know. Why do you think Museveni is a dictator? Because he has surpassed his term as president. If you look at the age in which Museveni took over Uganda, and look at how old he is now, why is the West not disturbing him and saying, oh, you are just like Russia that is a life president? Why? Because Museveni is teetering to their toes. Let me use that word. But now, Museveni is kind of joining Putin right now. Do you know why? The world is evolving. Many countries that American think that were weak, from past history, they're no longer weak. Why? Because many of them, their children, many generations have come to study abroad. They know how these people think. So now, many of them are trying to get the liver to talk back at them. And guess what? The conduit is Putin. Because all of a sudden, Africa is a battleground. Take it or leave it. Go by all the issues of everything that happened in Africa from 100 years ago or 60 years ago. Africa has always been the battleground. Look at that. When they gather, they want to put down Africa, they gather in Belgium. When they want to put down Africa, they will gather somewhere. They will come in different names. UNESCO. They will come as WHO. They will now come as a NATO or ally, and then they start putting their military bases in your country. Africa is I say we are the grass where the elephants are fighting.
Can I
But
ask?
that is where we need to understand. Let me give you another history, so you probably understand. Zaire, as we know it today, the Congo. I'm just going to give you just a little bit of history. Patrice Mulumba was from Zaire. And then you had the Katanga people. Now, the Katanga people, see, Zaire was a huge region. The way USSR was before, it was huge, right? And so within that Zaire now, we now had, just like Nigeria, it's split into those three geopolitical zones. For example, Katanga people were just on their own, but within that Zaire, Patrice Mulumba and Kasavubu were in the same Zaire, but they did not like Patrice Mulumba. The Katanga people especially. As a matter of fact, that it was the Katanga people, they said, Mulumba, do not come to our region. He came there and that is where he was nabbed. So what happened? They didn't like Patrice Mulumba because they felt that he was a busybody Confucianist. Patrice Mulumba was good with his mouth and with writing, but he didn't have the technical know-how to deal with the West. He just wanted it raw. He was saying it raw.
Can I interject?
No, please, I am giving history. So
No, your history is wrong now. Your history is
No,
wrong.
it is not wrong, my brother.
Let her finish, please.
Let me finish, then you can tell me where I was wrong. Because when you interject, you are spoiling people's flow of understanding. So as I was saying, so they did not. Patrice Mulumba was just saying Africa. Patrice Mulumba really actually wanted to unite the entire Congo. That was his aim, to unite the entire Congo. But the Katanga people say, like, listen, just like we're on the southwest of Nigeria. We don't want to join Nigeria. We don't want to join anything. Leave us alone. We don't like you. So what happened? The Belgians, as at that time, the Belgians were the ones who were the colonialists. The Belgians gathered people like Kasavubu, who was on the same region as Patrice Mulumba, the Katanga people, all the leaders in Zaire, and said, what do you guys want to do? Let us decide on what to do with him. They all agreed with the Belgians. And then guess what? Patrice Mulumba already knew that he was on his own. And that's why he started fraternizing with the Russians. So those Belgians now say, okay, let me call the African leader. It's like they all gathered themselves to put down their brother. But they were not realizing the vision of Patrice Mulumba. Maybe perhaps Patrice Mulumba was not enlightening them more, or he wasn't presenting his case as much. What they were seeing was very limited. They were not looking at the future. And that's why before the man that he said, the Congo shall know no rest until they come together. And until today, Zaire was split. We have the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. Then we have the Congo. I think Central African Republic was added. I'm not too sure now. It was split. Now Zaire didn't exist. Then Mobutu now agreed with the CIA and said, okay, we will give you America said, okay, we will give you the presidency. You will take over Zaire. That's why I still call him traitor today. Mobutu Sese Seko. He carried that when that leopard hat or Africans now, everybody must wear African clothes and all that. Listen, all those were deals. They are all sellouts. All those people. They are all and that is why it was brought down. Patrice was brought down because he was fraternizing with the Russians. That was us all. So this is what is happening again. They are coming in. They've now evolved. Wagner Group has now entered Africa right now, helping countries who want to feel emancipated from the West, and giving them is like they're actually working on the default documents arranged by Putin to say this is how you handle them. They're taking over your language, taking over how you eat, importation. This you are not so nice now. You are not telling us see just because it's a battleground. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's just for the awareness and the education of every African right now to know that if Russia's so-called alliance with these BRICS and all these things, it got nothing to do with the benefit of Africa. Let me just I can swear on this. They don't give a rat behind about Africa. America is the same boat. EU, the same boat. History has always said it right from time. Africa has always been the battleground. When the West are fighting among themselves, they now say, okay, let us go and see who's going to share the meat. Where's the meat coming from? It's Africa. And so they start to impose coup. They start to, this one will give them a lot of weapons. Why is it that in the Congo today, we have a lot of guerrilla groups having several diamond mines? Who is supporting all these diamond mines? It's the West now. It's the West. So listen, we just need to be aware, educated, and then we need to have good leaders that understand these dynamics. And I believe there are good leaders that understand it, but they're not put into political power. That's why that someone like Peter Jirakobi, I think that man understands how the West works. Thank God for today. We are opportune. Most of us, we are educated in the West. We live there. Some of us work within the government. So we know how they think. We know what their interests are. That's why it's different. Today is different from the times of Patrice Mulumba. It's completely different. The thought process, technology has come into play. We know everything. So Putin coming to talk has nothing to do with the interests of Africa. So let us not celebrate it. They should
ask-
leave us alone.
Can I
To deal with our
interject now?
issues.
I just want
Yes,
to
sir.
ask a question, please, before
Okay.
Rita. So, taking into consideration, this is a case of the devil and the deep blue sea. Where do you think is best, and as it stands right now, with all that is going on, who is the best to be in alliance with, the West or Russia?
We cannot have a broken house. We cannot function as a broken house, and they will not pick the lesser devil and think we're going to progress. We are not going to progress. You got to mend your own house first.
Lesser devil in this scenario.
I will not pick any lesser devil, because you know why? All these countries have resources enough to sustain themselves. I talked about resource
Margarita,
control.
can I interject?
Okay, go ahead. I think I'm done. Let other people talk.
You see,
I disagree with you on something.
Can I interject? You see, the history that Margarita just gave is wrong. That is why I said
you can't say it's wrong. You can say you don't agree.
I don't agree. I don't agree. You see, I don't agree, because we don't have to bring history, because we don't like this particular state. This particular state, we don't want this particular state because of the antecedent. But what I'm saying here is that the history that he gave was something contradicting, because the ally that Uganda president, what's his name, Idi Amin Dada, was having an ally with Russia and one other country. Those ally because of those ally was having, and he made a fundamental statement that he, as the Lion of Africa, has defeated the empire of Britain, the Queen. So those things provoked the British Empire, that's the Queen. When it provoked them, they don't want to come in directly. They came in through the rebel that were against Idi Amin Dada in India, in Uganda, and some based in Tanzania. Because those one based in Tanzania was supported by Julius Nyerere, the president of Tanzania. And Julius Nyerere, who was loyal to the British Empire, had to sponsor through the British, had to sponsor the rebel that was based in Uganda, and the head was based in Tanzania, which he was sponsoring. And they had to come into the border, because
can I also interject now?
Okay, interject.
Yes, Madam Risa, your history is like a facade. Yeah, you have elements of you are correct in some areas, but why Lumumba was taken out, I will tell you. In 1963, they gathered in Addis Ababa, and he gave a speech, him and Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana and 13 African states. They gathered that if Kwame said Ghana independence of 1957 is useless if other African countries are not independent. And Emery Lumumba and some other African countries, they said we should have one country, one currency. They were trying to argue that the capital should be in Lagos or Burundi or Accra, so they can compete with the Chinese and the European Union and the West. So this was the major reason why they didn't like him. Apart from some things you said, they had to take him out one way or the other. Belgium and France did that job with Britain. Guess what? The same reason they took out Gaddafi. One currency, one country. The same reason Kwame Nkrumah, yes, the same reason Kwame Nkrumah was hated. Up till now, how Kwame Nkrumah died, the story is not so clear. Kwame Nkrumah said, Africa will never, be able to stand eyeball to eyeball with the West until they come together as one country. This was the major reason. And the West hates this thing. So this is my interjection.
Okay. I want to correct something first from Black Panther. There's something that I mentioned and you repeated it. I am talking in the context of these Russian relations. I didn't say that it was only apart from the different issues of them what's his name, Idi Amin making that statement and all that. That was not the main thing. Listen, I've seen that thing in the movie. As long as you're an African person and you have collision with the Russians, just know that you are toast. That is the main fact. As long as you have So you might have other things that you say, comments that you say, insults or whatever against the queen, or other things. But if you can do all those things, they can maybe oust you or depose you or some sort. But when you have collusion with Russia, that you have to be taken down. That's just how they work.
But he
Miss,
didn't have
Madam Rita,
collusion with Russia. He had a relationship with Russia, and Nyerere was used by the British to bring in rebel that brought Uganda
They
down.
would always
And
use
they installed a
somebody
new
inside the
president.
house. Once they
But
saw
do you
that
know?
you have collusion
It's not
with
Russian,
the
please.
Russians, they will
It's
never
not the
use
Russia.
their person. Oh my goodness. You know
do
what?
you guys know that
Maybe
before Russia,
everybody needs to go and do some deep
yes,
reading, go to the
before,
library. Forget about the movies that they show on Netflix. Those are not the real
no,
stories.
from
Those ones are
the
just
library now,
based on the truth.
from the library now, Madam Rita, before Russia, do you know the first ally of that man, that Indian army? The first ally was Muammar Gaddafi. That was where he went to first, before he even went to Saudi Arabia. He was with Libyan leader.
God bless you.
Listen,
he was with Libyan leader for a few months.
Gaddafi wanted African autonomy over the West. Like you said, one currency and we'll be exchanging gold. Because he understood how the West worked. Now, my point is...
I don't understand why the West is struggling to impose everything on everybody around them. Listen, Mandela said something to the West.
Centuries.
Mandela, listen now, but it doesn't make it right. Mandela said something to the West.
Right.
Okay, Mandela said something to the West. Mandela said something to the West when he was being, just for 1 minute, please. When he was being interviewed, why is he having friendship with Fidel Castro, with Gaddafi, and with Palestine leader Arafat? And he told them, you cannot allow, you have no right to tell me who to choose as my friends. People that supported me, not only with rhetorics, but in the heat of the struggle, they supported with their resources and with, and other available means. So America can't tell me how to choose my friends.
Yes,
What gave them the moral right to drop? What gave America the moral right to drop bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which Japan have not recovered up till now? People are still suffering from that. What gave them the right to invade Iraq, wiping out millions of souls in search of weapons of mass destruction that can't still be recovered up to today? What gave them the right to invade Gaddafi's Libya and destroy it the way it is now? So what gave the West the power to think they are the ones that truly owns the world? So I'm not against Russia. I'm against this monopolistic, monopolar way of manipulating the whole world by the so-called Western power.
Alex,
I think I think people are having an impression that maybe I'm supporting the West. I'm not supporting the West.
You are pro.
But what we
you are very pro-Western. I'm not surprised if you are working Canadian government.
Your line of history.
I believe you are working in the Canadian government, man.
Mr. Alex, look at it. What I've seen is an analysis, in a historic analysis. What I am seeing, you are trying to bring in the Russia factor. Russia has been trying. Go and check history. Russia has been finding a way to come into Africa, but they have been finding it very difficult because of the Western influence and permanent resident in Africa. So
why are the Russians coming? Wait now.
You know why the Russians are coming now? Because the West have failed. They failed us.
When Idi Amin was having problem with the Western ally, he has to turn to the Russians and the Russians and one other countries. But he now offended the Western countries. That was why the Western countries cannot come directly, because it would be as if they are countering the sovereignty of that nation. They have to make use of Tanzania.
How did he offend the Western countries? By colluding with Russia.
No,
I don't want to revenge the wheel.
No. Before the Russian, he did one thing. He never wanted Western influence in Africa because he was preaching that African term. He never wanted it.
I've got some questions for you, Madam Rita.
I know, so you guys didn't allow me speak. I know, because you just accused me of something.
You have spoken now. You cannot.
I'm joking. No. It was a joke. It was a lighter note.
Yes, but you have spoken too. You've been interjecting. I'm talking about Mr. Black Panther, so you can't say I've spoken. You have been speaking. I just want to say the impression that maybe I'm sending a message that maybe I'm supporting the West of some sort, and then maybe I'm just against Russia per se. The way Russia is just doing hallelujah and giving us free meat pie right now. You understand? Free, giving like Niger, giving them free meat pie. We should not be praising them.
Yes, you see, I did not argue with you on that. You are right on that. You are right.
Now you
You are right on that.
But
I have some questions for you, man.
So why are
I'm
we
not praising them?
If, yes,
No,
I think Russia is justified for what they are doing.
My statement. I say Africans have the right. I say Africans have the right to choose when they liberate themselves to choose whosoever
we are not
they want to
liberated.
trade with, and to look. I'm talking about Africans now. If you listen to the was it Burkina Faso, the military guy, the statement he made in that African European statement. If you look at the speech of the former president of Burkina Faso, it was the same speech. He picked from that speech and made it to the Russian president, that Africans have the right to govern themselves and trade with whichever they want to trade with. The man was talking about African governance, not European influence. He said we are tired of European influence.
Yes,
Madam Rita, I have some questions for you.
ECOWAS, they don't even have respect from their own countries. Until AU, that's African Union now. And let me just talk about ECOWAS now. ECOWAS, until they get it right, the citizens in which they govern will never ever respect them. The West will never respect them. And that will give room for infiltrators like Wagner Group or Russia. Russia can bring mercenaries like the Wagner Group to come in because they know that
I've got some questions for you.
That citizens don't support them. So until we clean our house, let's stop talking about friends right now. What are you doing?
Why are you scared of the Wagner Group? Why are you scared of them?
Black Panther, hold on. Also, please.
Black
Let me ask her some
questions. Hey, God.
I'm asking you why are you scared of the Wagner Group?
Madam Rita, can I ask you some questions, please?
Please go ahead.
Number one, America has a lot of states, right, that make up America. European Union have got a lot of countries that make up these countries. They have visa free in these countries. America passport can go to the whole America, right? And some parts of the world. Why is the West dividing Africa? Why are they always enjoying when we suffer? Why are they always enjoying when we have when we need them most to even address certain issues that boils down to international community? Why are they doing that? And now why are they crying that Russia is coming to do what they could not do, even if Russia had bad intentions? Have we gone to divide them from traveling from France to Italy? Why are they in Togo? Why are they in Benin Republic? Why are they in Nigeria? Why are they in Ghana? You need visa to move around in one continent, but in their own continent, it's visa free, business free, duty free. Don't you see the wickedness behind the European intentions? Why are they crying that the Wagner Group are coming? Let us bother ourselves over that. What do you think?
Alex, this is your question long ago. But it's just one simple.
It's not saying with this in it.
The question where I asked Rita, Madam Rita, now.
No. Allah to answer me. I beg. Your wait.
I will answer Black Panther. Let me answer Alex. Alex, one simple word. Africa is the battleground for these countries. And when you are the battleground, you're not respected. You know what happens in battleground in 12th century when they're fighting with their swords? The ground is mixed with red color and mud, body parts and all kinds of things. They don't respect the ground. They can mash it. People mash it, do all sorts of things on the ground. That's what Africa is. So when you want to carry mud in your house, you look at the mud. If the mud is fine, you have a list of rules why that mud should enter your house. And that's why we have this visa thing. Because African leaders, the AU, have refused to gather liver and take control of their region. So we will continue to be the battleground. And that is what is happening 2023. After they have, since last year, we've just been looking at TV. Oh, Ukraine war. Oh, this one flew. Oh, America is donating this. Canada is donating that. Britain has done this. They're having a meeting in Poland. Oh, immigrants. We've been hearing all that. Nobody mentioned Africa at that time. Oh, because I was following it from last year. This war is over a year
Margarita,
now.
go straight to the answer now.
Don't answer the answer. I'm just expatiating. I just gave you the answer. I said Africa is the battleground. That's the answer. That's the answer to everything Mr. Alex was saying.
That's why you're afraid of Wagner Group.
That's what they are using to settle their scores. They finished fighting in Europe now they're coming to Africa. That's the answer to your question, Mr. Alex. Now you, Mr. Black Panther, you say why am I scared of the Wagner Group? I am not afraid of the Wagner Group. I am aware of the kinds of people they are. Let me tell you who belonged, the kinds of people that are in the Wagner Group. All the worst of the worst criminals. All the worst of the worst condemned criminals. Segovin went to meet them when he already, if I don't want to even talk about the issue of Segovin and Putin, that's a different story. When he wanted to start gathering his mercenaries, he went to the Russian prisons and gathered the worst of the worst condemned criminals and made up his army units. I'm repeating, listen, just because think of the worst prison in Nigeria, where they have the condemned criminals that have done all sorts of atrocities. You now say, okay, if you have watched the movie The Dirty Dozen, it's an old movie. I think it's in 70s or 70s or 80s movie. The Dirty Dozen, where America needed these people to go and take out where all the German generals were gathering, and they succeeded. It was a true life story. But hello, that is what made up the work. Those fighters that you see, those are the worst of the worst condemned criminals. And such people are now infiltrating different parts of Africa. Why do you think they're rich? Let me tell you. Sorry?
I said these are mercenaries. These are the mercenaries.
Yes, now you think it's just you think they're ordinary guys that just came to join the army? They're not part of the Russian army, and that's the reason why Segovin was fighting with Russia, because Putin said now all of you must register into the army, and they now discovered that the mercenaries were getting more salary. I think they're getting $2,500 a month compared to it was even more than what if you joined the army you were getting per month. So we're talking about the worst of the worst criminals from Russia, handling all sorts of weapons, now mercenaries now working for Putin. Because that's where their headquarters is in Russia, working for Putin.
Okay, let me ask another question.
And you're not telling me that you have such people coming to Africa.
Let me ask another question now.
Mercenaries rape.
Let me ask you another question.
Villages. Mercenaries do all sorts of things that even the media can't even say. That's why no country ever supports mercenaries, ever.
Let me ask you another question.
Syria, this is where they're making their money. So when you not say, there's nothing wrong, you need to, let me finish. You need to understand these kinds of people coming into your house. Listen, I have read and seen this thing extensively. It's a very dangerous group. We don't need them in Africa. We don't need to negotiate and say take 10% for fighting for us.
Madam Rita, hold on. Let me ask another question.
Madam Rita, for me, I agree. We don't need them with Africa. We don't. But with the way how someone will say Husky Azo Gabangoshi, that is the barber is now barbing your forehead. It has gotten to that stage now where that they are here already. You understand? So who should we pitch our tent with? That is the question now. Who should we pitch our tent with?
And Madam Rita, don't you think the Western so-called CIA, FBI, America anti-narcotic people should be wiped out, that department, because they are disgrace? Because a drug baron is...
That is not our business.
Listen, I'm going there. As some people's mandate...
It's not our business, Alex.
No. Listen, there's what we call international charter. Nigeria is a signature to that charter that binds nations. Listen, I'm going somewhere. Let me land.
It's not our business. It's not our business.
Let me land. You can't say so. You can't. We are here to learn. Let me just land. We have the international charter that binds the United Nations, and there are sections and subsections to that charter, and some of the sections has to do with drug dealings. And now, a man that's had issues in America with proof and documents. Why is the CIA quiet? The so-called FBI, all the anti-drug body in America, fighting the Mexicans and Colombians. When Nigerians, over 90 million people, are crying on Twitter every day that this man is a drug baron. Why did America go and pick Noriega of Panama from his bedroom on drug charges? Another world leaders they picked up over drug charges. They frown at it. Why are they quiet?
Sir Alex, somebody answered
Sister
this
Rita.
question you asked. I think it was Black Panther or somebody in the past, and they said they're using it as a leverage. America always want to take something from Tinubu, so that's why they now bring some kind of excuses to tell us reason why they wouldn't bring out all his criminal records. Somebody answered this question in the past. You understand?
They did. I wasn't satisfied. I'm still not satisfied.
Madam Rita, let me tell you what you just said now.
Let me ask this question. So we have chronicles of instances of what America and the West have done to Africa. What other instances of this kind of atrocity can we say Russia has committed against Africa? I just for my own
let me answer that question. You see, Russia as a nation, they have not committed any atrocity against Africa. Africa invites them and make a bargain with them, and they take the bargain and go. That is how business is done. But when you talk about the Western nations, these are your colonial masters. They know you, they dine with you, and they want to stay there. They don't want to go. A mercenary, let me tell you a mercenary, CIA is stronger than a mercenary and more deadlier than a mercenary. A mercenary is like a terrorist group. They are not different from them. They go wherever they want to go, subject people down, and take some resources which they bargain with the people that own some of the people with. That's what they do. You can easily throw them out. But when the colonial master that has oil, that take oil more than 10% of your natural resources, they take it every month. Then, do you think you can take them out easily like that? You can't take them until you tell them that, look, we want a system. We don't want this system anymore. Tear the paper and advocate for your own system. And countries are there to support you. If the Russians will support you to have your own African system, so be it. We have a deal with them, that's it. But when you don't have a system, the Western world does not want you to have the system, and you still saying, oh, Russia has done this mercenary. What is mercenary? That you cannot take down. Then you want to compare it with CIA or the one in Britain that has been in your country through so many Mobil and British oil that have taken over your oil wealth for more than 50 years. You are afraid of Wagner Group. If you want Wagner Group in, you have to sign a deal with them. If you don't want a deal with them, then you do it your own way. They don't force themselves into you. That is what I'm saying. We have to take over our continent and decide which one we're going to do business with. Or do you think that the Western world will sit down and allow Russia to do this game and they will interfere? It is not easy, my sister. It is not going to be easy. But we Africans have to bond the two sides and carve a way out the African system for ourselves. Then we can boldly tell two of them to move out, to go away. Who decide our destiny? Who decide who to play the ball with? That is the way out. Being afraid of, you shouldn't be afraid of a mercenary group. We have them in Africa there.
We already have
a lot of them.
The chimpanzee in the Niger Delta has mercenaries. He's told us.
We have the Boko Haram. All those groups are everywhere.
We have mercenaries now digging our gold.
I am not afraid of the Wagner. See,
that is why they ask why they fear them. Leave them. Let them come.
Madam Rita, why they laugh?
I'm not afraid. explaining the fabric of a criminal group doesn't mean that I'm
They no
scared.
fit do
It means that,
anything, Miss Rita.
oh my goodness.
Those ones are
I
no
don't know why we
problem.
are talking like this. So,
I think the
do you know
question
how many
here,
countries that this?
can I,
Let me tell you, the richest
can
man in the world today for so many years is Vladimir Putin, but because Forbes magazine doesn't rate politicians in that damn magazine, but where most of the majority of the wealth that Russia has is from its mercenary groups like Wagner. Signing with Wagner is signing with Putin.
Rita, the
That's what
question,
people need to know.
Rita, yes, but the question is this, right? On the balance of probability, who is going to pose us more harm with their billions or not billions?
Because we cannot exist as an island.
Hold on. If you are even saying he's the most richest person in the world, how has that impacted on us negatively? Did he use his billions in any way negative to do anything against us? If he is using it to transact business, to liberate people, fair and square.
He's
But
not
we have
liberating people, my sister, busy
no.
brain. The
I'm not
Wagner
saying
group
that
they don't go to your country to just say
they're
they're
not,
going to help you fight.
they are
They
there to
commit
transact.
worse atrocities that you and I don't see. Some special media go there and they record this thing. Do you know?
What
In fact,
atrocities have
I don't want to
we
even say
seen them?
something because this is social media. There's something I really don't want to say.
But because you see,
They are not liberating. We don't need them. Listen, you guys are talking as if you don't have confidence in your country. It's because we have is a cumulative effect of bad leadership over the years that we don't even believe that we can stand up and we don't need and we can settle our own issues ourselves without needing external groups.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, Madam Rita.
Oh my goodness.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay, Alex, let me just put this point across. You see, the truth of it is, it is a case of the devil and the deep blue sea. Neither one appeals, but at the moment, it is better to go with the least one that will cause us more harm. Let us leave that to individual assessment. However, the one that will cause us least harm, we know we do not have the capabilities that the devil and the deep blue sea have. And
well, if I may just jump in, madam, see, if we are talking about the one that will cause us, we should decide. We have already decided. We have decided. We have already decided, and I will tell you how we have decided. Now, this Japa syndrome or whatever we talk about, how many of our people go to Russia? If they have the option, if we open it now, if we just say, okay, there's a Russian passport, there's a US passport, those are the only two countries remaining in the world.
Funny enough.
Excuse me, sir. I know a lot of Nigerians that live in Russia.
Use that one. You can't use that. You can't use that analysis.
Listen, there are some doctors we have in Nigeria today in their 70s. Many of them schooled in Russia. Many of them. I have a friend whose brother was even a doctor in Ukraine.
You are trying
There's
to
a lot
say
of Nigerians that go to
inside
Russia.
rice
What are
and
you saying?
you are trying to say inside rice and fried rice. Which one do you want? That's what you are trying to tell us.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say.
That analysis is too cheap. You don't use that.
No, it's not as if you don't use that. You can't tell me the analysis to use. Okay.
No, you are not giving us option now. You are not giving us option.
No, listen. When discussion gets to this level, I don't know why we keep trying to compare between Russia and the West. Can't we see that both of them, they have their own interest to protect?
Obviously,
they are just about their
interest.
Please let me just talk. You guys have been talking. I'm not into this comparing Russia and the West, and I choose the example I want to use. Okay, Black Panther. So let's get that clear. Now the question is this, like what I've said before. You see, we can't go about this and be discussing this thing as if, and we are refusing to take responsibility for our own shortcomings. We are refusing to take. I'm not saying that the West has done any good for us. No, they've not. And neither is Russia. Neither is Russia. Like I made the analogy from the beginning. I'm not looking at the one that is better. Like Busy Brain was trying to say, no, we are looking at the one that is worse. Both of them, they don't have your interest at heart. It's Russia does not, and the West does not. The reason I use that very simple analogy, if you still want to look at it, on the balance of freedom, you still have some level of freedom if you live in the West compared to Russia. So let's
That's not true.
How can you say that's not true? How do you
I'm
mean that's
talking
not
to
true?
people that are in Russia, and that is, in fact, they are living under clear less restrictions during the COVID. What happened? What happened?
What happened during the COVID?
Who was restricted most? Who was enslaved? Who was bad?
Madam, please, see.
Oga J, you know why? Sorry to interject you.
Get certain
You know
things.
why I said
Let's
you cannot
get certain
use
things clear.
you cannot use the analysis.
No,
You know why I
wait,
said you cannot use the
Let me
analysis.
quickly answer Busy Brain. See, Madam Busy Brain. If we are looking, see, we have to look at this thing holistically. The point I'm making is this: see, if you are a Russian citizen, as an African man, a Russian citizen, and you are an African man, a US citizen, I'm trying to make these things very, very simple. Or you have a British passport and you live in the US, and you have a Russian passport and you live in Russia. You cannot tell me in all honesty that you'll be treated better in Russia than in the US. It's a very simple thing. You can go to any office in the US with you can claim a level. There's a level of freedom you can enjoy, but even if you have Russian passport, you can't do that.
With all due respect, yeah? With all due respect, let me ask you, where did you get have you lived in Russia before?
I lived in more than 12 countries. More than.
Have you lived in Russia?
It's not just only living in these countries, just for the sake of living in this country. The nature of my job exposes me to the people, to every people in the strata of the society. The same thing when I worked in the north. I met everybody. The nature of my job, I meet the poor, I meet the rich, I meet the humble, and I meet them in their most vulnerable condition. We talk frank discussion. So I know the way every society functions. I know what I'm saying.
Listen. Yeah.
My argument is this.
The apparatus.
No, wait. My argument is this. I don't want to get into this Russia West dichotomy at all. I don't even like that discussion. I don't like which is better. What I keep talking about is that which of them is worse.
So that is the question.
That is how I'm seeing them.
Either which direction, which is better or which is worse. At the end of we are looking
Oga Chris.
And
we are
lastly,
looking for the lesser.
Oga Chris, can I interject you now?
And lastly, yes, you will interject me. And lastly,
you see, you caught me again.
Yeah, you interject me, but I'll leave my last statement like this. My point in all this is that not until we take responsibility for ourselves, nothing is going to change. Because these two sets of people, they will keep feasting on the wrongdoings of our leaders. They will keep feasting on our greed.
I agree.
They will keep feasting on our ineptitude. We have to take up responsibility, take up the challenge. Whatever we need to do, if we say democracy is the problem, we can throw it out of the window. We have to talk and devise a means that's better for us. It's not because our leaders, they are benefiting from the system, from the west of Russia. I don't know why they keep perpetrating the system. The leaders should love us enough. We should love ourselves enough before we start talking about external influences.
Oga Chris.
Yes,
but will the external factors leave you for your leaders to love themselves enough to love
Oga Chris?
If the external factors will
if you watch, Madam, hold on first. Sorry for interjecting both of you. Madam Oga Chris, if you watch my statement and you know where I'm moving to, I know where I'm coming from. I am not telling you that I am in support of Russia.
Exactly.
But when you bring Russia into the game and you now say, oh, inside rice and Gary, which one you like pass?
No,
that is not that analysis. It doesn't go well with me.
No, the point I'm still trying to make, there is no a question of inside rice and Gary, which one you like pass. I'm trying to see there's a stage an argument gets to. We go back to the basis. That is the point I'm making. There's a stage we go back to the basis. For example, my brother, how many, please, I don't even want to go into that. I don't want to go into this Russia, Western world, whatever. But the point I'm just making is this, and this is what I'll keep making. Not until we as a people, we rise up to love our own people better, then there's nothing we can do. We have to love ourselves better first. We have to be keen enough to provide for our people. We have to be keen enough to tar the roads, equip our hospital. How can you explain, for example, you have a president that was ill, suffering from an ailment, and he goes overseas to treat himself, and he refused to establish a center in his country where other people that cannot go overseas can avail of that opportunity. Who can you blame for a system where we always put our worst 11 forward? The quota system that benefits a section of the country. Who can you blame for all those? Who can you blame for the fact that kids from some part of the country, they need to be 4 or 5 times as better than
Oga
kids from
Chris,
the other part of the country?
me and you know say na the system dey cause the kind of problem that have existed within us for several years. And what I am trying to say is that if we want to say the system that we've been in it, and this system is not working well for us, we have the right to carve out a system for ourselves that will come bring about all these things you are talking about. It's not a
Exactly.
mystery, it's not mystical. And I try to tell people that look, if Africa have to decide on their own, what I'm getting that you people should understand me clearly now is like this. If Africa get their own act right, then they have the power to choose who they want to do relationship with. And that will benefit us because we are going to dictate it rather than we now saying, writing a bargain with you, take 10%. It will no longer be that way. That's where I'm driving to. That is why I asked Madam Rita, why are you afraid of the Wagner group?
You've already made the point by saying that if we decide to choose a system that will work for us, I think that is the summary of the whole thing. Because we are so greedy, we've not decided to choose that system that will work for us. It is not the West that is stopping us from choosing that system. But if they have the power, they will do it. Because when Nigeria doesn't work, it benefits them. If it doesn't work, it benefits them. Let's not we have to be very clear about that. But the point I'm still making is that our leaders don't love us enough. They don't love us enough. That is why the West, they have the audacity, they are able to come in. They want to go to everywhere, not just only Africa alone. But it's just that Africa has made themselves the most vulnerable parts of the world. That is why they take complete advantage of us. Do you see the way we guide even our policemen?
But Mr. Chris, do you know what the World Bank told us the first time? When they said we should neglect higher institutions, that we should concentrate on tertiary university, secondary and primary. When they wanted to give us a loan, do you know that was they told us? And they knew that this thing is going to break them so that they can have an advantage.
Okay,
do you know that?
Yes, they said that, but if you look at how much were we going to take from them? If you look at the money we were going to take from them, my brother Black Panther, in the first point, if we knew what we were doing, we wouldn't even be needing that kind of money from them. If we knew do you know how much we spent on subsidy alone? Do you know how much we spent on subsidy that was non-functional? It is the way we loot ourselves dry. That is why we now need money from external sources. Buhari took $1 billion to resuscitate the refinery in Port Harcourt. And that has been how many years? 3 or 4 years. Nothing was done about that place. See, do you know what it means if you cannot refine your own fuel? You can't blame any person for that. First of all, you extract your crude oil, you sell to the West, you go and buy only refined product from them, and you have refineries. And in these your refineries, what do? If you want to employ people, you use tribalism and ethnicity to employ people into these places, and they run those things, they run them down. How many people do they have in NNPC? Go and look at the salary of NNPC. They don't produce any fuel. But go and look at how much they are earning. So after we finish dismantling and finishing all our funds, now we want to go to World Bank, and they start giving you funny excuse. The point is this, Black Panther, if we knew what we were doing, we wouldn't even be going cap in hand to the World Bank in the first place. We wouldn't go there we would not go there in the first place. That is the point I'm making. It's shameful.
Can I ask?
Yeah, yes, I'm
You know,
waiting.
you mentioned something. You said our leaders don't love us enough, which I greatly agree with you. But what do you think? Is it just that they don't love us enough? Or there is something, or what could, I mean, apart from not just loving us enough, that monies, billions of dollars is taken in the name of getting the refineries all sorted out, which will obviously improve the lot of Nigerians. Nothing can be shown to account for what that money was done with, because the refineries are still dead and not running.
Yeah,
so would we just put it down to the fact that they don't love us enough?
Let me paint the scenario for you. Maybe you don't want to touch it. Now let me touch what you are trying to say, or what I assume you are trying to say. Now, maybe the theory you are propagating is that the West, they don't want these refineries to function. Is that what you are trying to propagate?
That, to a degree, yes.
Not to a degree, they don't want it.
Yeah, so if they don't want it to function, madam, who are you going to blame for it? See, I am married, for
that
example.
is what I'm saying.
No,
what
wait,
I'm trying to say to you is
wait,
this, right?
Wait, madam. It's like, for example, I have my family, my wife, and maybe 6 children. Another person has family, his wife and 6 children. Then me in my house, I have refused. The funds I'm supposed to use to take care of my family, I'm using it. Another person, another man from another family is coming to kind of, whether bribe or whatever, make sure that I don't take good care of my family, takes away from my money and use it to repair his own family. Who are you going to blame for that? Even if the West, even if they have a hand in that refinery not functioning, who are you going to blame? Is it not the corruption? Is it not the wickedness of the leaders that love these Western people more than their own?
No. It doesn't go like that. Mr. Chris, it doesn't work like that.
How does it go?
You see. Let me say something. You think a man cannot wake up one day and decide in his own mind to destroy what is his own? You understand? Let us come from that context.
See,
then let us come under
this argument. This West.
No, I'm carrying you somewhere. Okay. And the man now say, okay, somebody came into his house and intruded into his house and take over his own property. And I said, okay, I'm leaving, but I'm still having control. I'm giving you this system. I don't want you to practice your own system again. I'm giving you a system. Don't you think that system that he has given you have the force and power to drive home what they want you to be like, so that it can favor them?
Of course, it does. Let me make the point you are making. Let me clear it. What you are saying now is that, okay, as this man has decided to leave you alone, but somehow he has put in structure in place to make sure that you cannot be alone. Is it not what you are saying?
Yes.
That's exactly what you are saying. But you know that both of us know that in practical terms, that is not the case. In the sense that even if those structures are there, you still have the power to be able to demolish those structures. Even if those landmines are there, those structures that will not make you to function, you have the powers to remove them. But because you know that you have looked at this structure that this man left behind, you know that if you remove this structure, if you leave the structure like that, it will benefit you more. But if you remove it, it will not benefit you. So you have systematically and technically left those structure in place because of your own personal greed. Can't we get it? Our leaders, they allow those.
That is it. You've not made. You mentioned one thing now, greed. The structure
Yes,
they brought in is to make you greedy,
that is what. No, the
not
structure
to
they brought in,
decide.
yeah, the structure made you greedy. But the borderline is that no matter how greedy you are, you have to still take responsibility of the fact that you allow this greed to be bigger than the love you have
So
for your own children.
I to a large extent, I get where you are coming from,
So
Oga.
the final, before you land, then let me say, the final point is this. It means this if you follow this argument, the position you guys are taking, so it means this Obi movement and everything, we shouldn't even be talking about it.
No, and
Because
if you listen to my last submission, I said something. I said these people are compromised. Mr. Obi has been in government in the past. He has been tested and he did not compromise. And going back into power now means that he will be a threat to the establishment because he refused to compromise his love and integrity for his love for the people and his strength in his integrity will
so
not allow
exactly. So I'll throw the same question back to you people now. A very simple question is a yes or no. Do you people believe that if Obi comes in, he will make a difference? Yes or no?
He will make a difference.
Okay, good. Do you, if Obi comes in, is at the West, are they going to remove those landmines, those influence? Are they going to just remove them because Obi has come in? No,
they wouldn't. It will still be there.
No. See, let me answer your question. Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question. No. Let me answer.
We've come to a with what you have just submitted now. I am also of the view that at the end of the day, a person who is not compromised is the one that would rise above.
Thank you,
their
madam.
love for the nation.
Thank you, madam. That is all I'm saying. Thank you, madam.
But the thing is this, all our leaders have been compromised. Some of them not willingly. So you know, some of them not willingly. They did not realize that they have gone into a trap and they cannot turn back.
Okay, let me give you an example. If you truly love your people, it's like, for example, I always use this father figure in the house. If, for example, you are a man and people are chasing you, and you know that if you run to your house, they are going to destroy every person, both your wife and your children. So the best thing for you to do is to avoid running to your house. You run to another place. It's the same thing. If you know you have been compromised and you know if you get to power, they are going to use you. If you love your people enough, you will avoid getting to power.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I said,
because of your personal greed, you allow yourself to get to power, and they not start manipulating you.
If you listen to what I said in my first submission, I said some of these people are people that I can vouch for. But the moment they get there, it is a shock, the way they turn around. And that is to let you know that while they are there, unconsciously, they fell into the trap and their language changed.
So let me give one clear example. You see,
unknowingly, and
this idea.
Sorry,
this idea of love for your seed. There's a certain French president.
The question you asked, what you're trying to say is now that once they find that they have compromised themselves, if they love the Nigerians enough, they will do the right thing by resigning.
They will either they resign or they don't even get there because even
for those that are there already,
that are already there, they can resign because these people, even before they come to power, the West even discuss with them that, look, if you want us to help you, you do this, make sure you don't repair your country. I'm just using it in a vulgar term. We want so and so resources from you. But because of their greed to come to power, they agree with these Western people. That is the point I'm making. See, a French president, Charles de Gaulle, you know, that man, during French Revolution, when the people of France, when they were invading his palace, do you know what that man did? He ran away from the palace. And people ask him, why did you have to run away? He said, because he knew If he was in the palace and those people come to the palace, there is something in the French law that said that the military on guard, they should do everything to protect invaders. He said he knows that the military, they will attack the common people, they will attack the citizens of France. And he doesn't want any person to be hurt. So he had to leave the palace. He had to leave the palace. That was what Charles de Gaulle did. And the largest airport in France today is named after him. So
And
that is
so,
love.
so
See,
I think,
when Mr. Chris, when you mention, sorry,
the discussion.
when you mention Obi comes in what I've been saying. When Africa decide, that's where Obi comes in. Africa want to decide, Nigeria want to decide. You can see the ripple effect on other Western neighbors now. You can see how they are focusing on Nigeria now, where they are saying, oh, you do have the legitimacy. You see how it is now. When Obi is a deciding factor, if we decide through Obi now, then through Obi, we are going to speak on what to change the system that is foreign to us through our constitution.
It's the
That
same
is
thing we
it.
are saying. At the end
So
of the day,
that is what I'm saying. So the matter of being afraid of Wagner Group, that's why I asked that question.
no, I'm not.
Why are
I'm
you
not
afraid
into.
of them?
I'm not into Wagner Group. At
They
the
are
end of the
human
day,
being now.
as
They are
long
human being
as
like us.
yeah, if we can agree that if Obi comes, he will make a difference without this influence of the West stopping him, then there's no argument. Because if we keep saying the West will not allow us to develop, then there's no need to fight for Obi. Because even if Obi is there, the West will still not allow him to do anything. That's just my argument. As long as we believe that Obi will make a change. Why? Because he's different, because he loves his people more than these other guys. Then it means there's a proviso always in place that the problem is us. If we feel that the West is the problem, then why are we fighting for Obi? As long as we believe that Obi can make that change, so it means the people that have been ruling there, they could have still been able to make the same change, but they refuse to. That is just the summary of everything.
No, the reason why we came in is that the system they gave us has eaten deep into the bone marrow. And when generation is coming, generation comes with their own kind of idea. As a
Yeah,
result of the generational change, now we are seeing the message that is coming from another generation, which the old generation that refused the system has been advocating. Now we have sold the message to them and they grab it. That is why we are having this African system trying to come to place now.
yeah, exactly my point. My point is that the West, if you know the level, even the atrocities we see that we are talking about is even worse than what the West have done to us. It is worse.
Sorry,
But
the atrocity that what?
I said the atrocities that we are even talking about, these ones we are just talking about, is worse than this. What the West actually did to Africa is
Sorry, let
worse.
me correct something. So I just saw something here that if we feel Obi will be like them, why supporting him? I don't think anybody said Obi will be like him. We are saying that Obi has
We are saying
proven
that
himself.
yeah, we are saying that we can we can actually make a difference despite the influence of the West, if we have a leader that truly loves his people, like Peter Obi, that is what we are saying.
Simple,
Yeah,
yes.
if we say that without as long as the influence of the West is there, we cannot do anything. Then it means there's no point agitating for it because if he comes in, the influence of the West will also hold him back. But no, what we are saying is that despite that influence of the West, all it takes is for a determined leader that loves his people. And that is what we have seen in the person of Peter Obi. It's as simple as I see. To tell you how wicked, let me tell you how much we love ourselves. During the Corona time, I think somebody mentioned that Corona time. During that time, I was opportune. I was opportune to be able to travel. Now in Ireland, they were delivering food to everybody in boxes. irrespective of your color, your residency status. All you need is an address, and as long as your child is in school, they drive to everybody's house every day to deliver food, boxes of food that will last that family for that week. But what did we do back home? You have sitting governors hiding hiding food that's meant for the common man during corona. My brother, can we look at that? Can we look at that? When I saw those videos, what we were doing to ourselves in Africa, I shed tears. When these people, we don't share the same skin color, nothing. They just give you a call, they come to your house and they deliver boxes of food to every family, every street, irrespective of your skin color, your whatever you are. That was what they were doing. But we, palliative, the people that are already rich, they hid those palliative to use for the next campaign election. Tell me, how fantastically wicked can a people be? How more fantastically wicked can a people be? So that's just the point I'm making. And if we see the likes of Peter Obi, he's not in that that greedy, gluttonous attitude that our leaders have. If not for stupidity, how can you tell me Paul Biya of Cameroon, 87, I've been 92 years? He's still there. France is using him to ruin his people. Joseph Kabila of Congo, the man died and they replaced him with his son. And those people, they want to remain there. They always work with the West because they want to remain in power. They don't think nationally. They think of themselves. So in order to remain in power, they align with and the West is so happy to do that. And that is where I hold the West responsible. They are using double standard. They say they are fighting corruption, but at the same time, they are aiding corruption.
They are aiding
Because,
corruption.
yeah, they are aiding
Exactly.
corruption. They have to use that corruption they are using it to propagate their own economy. Which, if you still ask me, the borderline is that we gave them that power, we gave them that opportunity. Have you seen African leaders sit tight? See the one in Uganda. He has been there for how many years? Museveni. Is it 27 or 32 now? Just across like that. They rig election year in, year out. And in order for them to remain in this power, they rig this election and they open up their country to the West so that their West can be controlling their resources, while the West we keep protecting them and they remain in power. That's essentially what they do. Look at this other man in Obiang in Equatorial Guinea with so much money from oil. But that man and his family, they've decided to stay there. While they've opened their economy to the West, they can take as much oil as they
Bro
want.
Chris,
Yeah.
you see what you just said now? You see, you said the Western world are aiding corruption. You know why they are doing it? Because it is the system. They knew that these people will be corrupt. It is the system.
Let me give you a clear case example of how we don't, why we keep blaming our seeing. If people come to the Western world, you know the process of getting residency and getting yourself regularized. You know how difficult it is. There's no amount of money you will take to the offices where these people work to go and bribe them to give you their passport. No, you can never. But I'm very sure people can walk into Nigeria. They can walk into any African country and any of those offices and bribe the corrupt people there because nobody simply care. Nobody simply care. I'm very sure our people, if they have the opportunity, if you ask them to pay anything, they can pay to get their status regularized.
They will pay now.
They will pay, but you see people work there in the office. Have you ever seen any black any foreigner that will tell you that I get one office where I just go, so I give them 5,000 euro now, so they give me my paper? Never, never. But can we say the same thing of ourselves back home, where lecturer literally just write grades for people? We write grade for people. This is even outside the purview of you. I know Black Panther, your argument is that it is the system that they brought that taught us that level of greed. Yes, I can agree to a very large extent. That system taught us. But if we still look at it on face
That is
value,
what I'm saying.
yeah,
That is what
if
I've been
we
saying.
look,
That
if
is
we
my
look at
premise.
it
That
on
one
face
arguing on.
value, yeah, I still use the family situation. If, for example, I'm so greedy and I have 4 children that are hungry, and this greediness, initially I wasn't greedy, but when I came in contact with 2 of my friends, they taught me how to be greedy. And because of that greediness, now anytime my wife cooks at home, first of all, I'll make sure that I overfeed myself, even though my children they are hungry. I don't care. Then is it enough justification to say that this man was a good man before, but it was because he came in contact with so and so people, he does no longer care for his children again? Whereas this same man, he knows exactly how to care for his own the children another woman had for him, because these are our leaders. They know how to protect their own family. They know what is good for their family. They don't allow the influence of the Western world to stop them from doing the proper thing for their family. Before anything, they send their children abroad. Before anything, they go and treat their children abroad. They send their children abroad for education. Gohari's last 4 children, they all had UK education. And whereas the Katsina, he comes from there, the West is stopping him from providing education for the people in Katsina. But they didn't stop him from him realizing that his children had to get very good education. The West does not stop them if they want to take care of themselves for running overseas to go and get good medication. It is only when they want to, when they are, it is now time to take care of the common man, that the influence of the West will be disturbing their vision, will be affecting their judgment. Can't you see there's a problem there?
Mm.
Can't you see
Oga Chris,
how
Oga
come
Chris, you've,
how
you've,
come that greed, that Western influence, how come it doesn't stop them from taking care of their loved ones,
you've
from
really
taking
hit
care
it
of
for
themselves?
me. You've really hit it for me. For me, I agree totally with with your submission. For me, I am coming from the angle that we should be aware of the influences that that impacts on the leadership within our own country. However, I think, like you said, if they do love the country, it will trump whatever influence or hold that is held on them. So the bottom line is our leaders go in there, they don't know what being a Nigerian is. They don't see themselves as Nigerians. They see themselves as a singular, me, myself, and I. So they go in there with just that tiny framework. It is just them and their immediate society, their immediate circle that will feel the impact of being a Nigerian, rather of being an individual, of living, of existing, while the rest of of living, while the rest of Nigerians are just existing. So I think what I've learned from your submission today is that our leaders go in there with them, me and myself and I, period. They don't
They
see
don't.
ourselves as themselves as Nigerians. So going forward, I personally would say, for Nigerians, for any person to go into power, I think there needs to be lessons, there needs to be training for anybody vying to go into political office, to teach them what they need to know, what being a Nigerian is all about. And that is, we are far, far, far from there.
They know exactly what to do right. That's just my point. They know exactly what to do right. Whatever excuses they
So
are
is it then,
giving.
why are they not doing what they know to do right?
See, if any person, what does it
You see,
even take
that
any
is the
person?
demonic thing we are talking about.
Yeah, if you even travel overseas, you see the way everything is there, the roads and everything. Is that not enough inspiration for these people? Is that not enough inspiration for them?
So
Can
there's
you
something
imagine?
in the psyche. There's something in
Can you
this.
imagine? See, just look at that analogy. During the COVID, we were stealing palliative meant for the poorest of the poor.
Exactly.
We were stealing palliative. We cannot see. There's no way we can argue that it has nothing to
That
do with the West.
that in itself, so it makes you, because it is from state to state. Almost all the governors
All the states of
did,
all the governors, they
did
did
the
the same
palliative.
thing.
So tell me, did they sit down and in their governor's quorum, did the Buhari tell them not to share? What is it that none of them could show strength in
Even
character to
even
help
that
people?
that was not even the fault of Buhari in the first place. It's just it's what I'm saying. You are
So all
asking a very
36
simple
governors,
question. Yeah. Buhari even tried. I think he released those palliative and the governors refused to share. It boils down to the same thing we have been saying. We don't love ourselves enough. If we love ourselves enough, the influence of the West will be minimal. You used one word now that it will trump. I like that word. Our love for ourselves will trump the effect of the West on whatever they are doing in our society. That's just it. That is the way I see it personally. Because other alternative argument is for we to even just give up. We give up that okay, no problem. Whoever goes there, and that's exactly what some people in diaspora, that's the attitude they have now. That there's no need. Whoever goes there is going to do the same thing. But
That
we
has
still
that has been who they are.
have yeah, you are
and I
right
think
there.
that is the reason why the obedient movement has gravitated and taken hold so deeply and so widely, because we've been able to identify an individual who has genuine care,
Who is
love,
different?
who is different. No, and what makes him different is the fact that he cares,
He
that he
cares.
loves.
I think that is the word. That
That
care
is
and that love.
that care.
If you see somebody that care
That
and
is
love
the
you,
right word. Yes.
He cares.
even
So
this even this
mm,
West we talk about, I don't most European countries that have been, it doesn't exist in Russia. Most European countries that have been, I've seen our people. They are, if they come, they are in employment, they fall out of employment, and the government gives them exactly the same kind of support they give to their own citizens. Exactly the same amount of money, the same amount of social housing, treatment, everything, exactly what they give to their own citizens. But that can never happen in Russia or in China. It can never ever happen. So I don't want to bring this analogy of China, Russia, but it's just a way to show you how the government truly care for their people. Now take it back to our country now. You have not done anything at all about the suffering of the masses, but all you are doing is increasing the suffering.
but I have a view on that as well. I have a view on the welfare state.
Hmm.
While I don't know if I should go into it or just reserve it.
Well, it depends. I just use that to just a little
Yeah,
analogy to show you how governments care for their people, not necessarily because of us, but how they care for their people, at least to a large extent.
I think the welfare state arose as a result to keep their people in check. Like what is happening right now in Nigeria, you can see that it is a volcano waiting to erupt, because the economic gap between the rich and the poor there's a gulf between. So in order to placate the masses, the welfare state emerged.
Yeah.
And what I see right now, it has evolved. The welfare state has continued in order to subject the people and keep them under control.
But
So
you are perfectly right.
he who pays the piper dictates the tune. So if I, as a government, is giving you this, the moment you don't comply, I will take it away. It is as easy as that.
Yeah, you are perfectly right. It's about keeping the people in check. It's about controlling crime. It's about everything. And that's why with all those, if somebody is caught short of the law, they don't spare the
Yeah.
person. They don't
Yes.
spare because you had no reason to go and steal. It's
In the
keeping people
first
in
place.
check.
Exactly.
It is keeping people in check. But how can you not expect people? Okay, imagine a system. You know you are paying people minimum wage of 30,000, and you know in the real sense that this 30,000 cannot even last people for 1 week, and you expect those people in such offices not to be corrupt. There's a way we think that I can't. There's a way we think. How do you expect them to live if you know that what you are paying them is not enough to take care of their needs? Now, state governors across the nation, they are increasing worker salary, but how many of these people are civil servants in a state? How many of them? I don't know. I don't know. I think we have to do better. I think that's just
That's
all I
why I
have to
say
say.
some of our leaders at the talk am. They be Uludu. You know, somebody be Uludu. Maybe you think that they have brain. You know, it's like when you go to school, you see some people that cannot write a statement. They have to teach them and teach them. While some are there, they'll say, I don't want to go school again. I drop out. It's the same thing we are seeing in this government we are seeing. So some are the
That's
ones to Lodo, some are
that's
getting, some are for F9, some are for C, some are for D, some are that's so they be.
That's still the system. Okay, I'll still talk about the education system now. You see, the education system is designed in such a way. I don't know how it is in the US, but I know a lot about most European countries. The education system is designed in such a way that this thing we call GSS theory, at the time you get to that level, the system will already know the people that can continue in academic line and they continue up with the view of going to university. And those ones that are not academically savvy enough, they start going to trades like plumbing, electrical
But that is
repairs.
flawed. That is flawed. I feel that is flawed.
Why?
Okay. You know, we have people that are late risers.
Why you go call that fraud? Everybody not get the same
No, I
brain
didn't
now.
say fraud, though. I didn't say fraud. I said
No, you
flawed.
don't see. If you say it is flawed, let me tell you, they don't stop them at JSS 3. Maybe I left one part out.
No,
Now,
but you,
you see, no, you
but
still
you are
have the
right.
opportunity.
You are right.
No,
You are right.
no, two ways. Let me quick. I know what you want to say. You
Okay.
want to say that maybe some of them would have picked up later. No, what they
Yes.
do, I understand. What they do is that when they get to that GSS 3, after that exam, they are now able to settle the people. There are some people they will now ask them at that stage, you can decide on your own. The government is not going to force you, but the
They do.
results are there. But you cannot.
Let me speak
No,
for United Kingdom as I know it. And I'm
okay,
currently in a
I speak for
situation.
Ireland, I speak for Denmark, I speak
Yeah.
for Norway, I speak for Sweden.
Okay.
Now,
Let me
yeah.
speak for the UK as I know it. A mother could, well, as in, and the child, they could not get them to reverse that decision. They said no. In fact, when the mother tried to take it further, they said she is imposing herself on her child, that the child knows her pace. So the mother is being pushy. So the child is now going through the vocational route to be hairdresser, plumber, that. So the system has told the child that the child is not academic, so cannot progress in the academic route and go to uni. So she's
Um,
just going to go to
Madam
college.
Busy Brain, let's not make it as if it's the system. The thing is that it is the results. What result do you have? They look at the result and they say this is what you can do. Now in Ireland, in Denmark, in most Scandinavian country, I follow up to see if it is the same thing. Now I realize that what the system does is that at that age, the child is about 15. Now you can actually start that trade wherever, but you'll be doing it academically. You still have another 2 years to decide if you can continue to university. You still have another 2 years.
Mm.
So they will now have the opportunity of learning a skill and at the same time going through the academic route. If after that 2 years, like those your late risers that you talk about, within that
Yeah.
2 years, if they improve academically, they can now proceed to university. But if they don't improve, they have to stay because some of them, maybe they played away their time. So because of that, their result was not good enough to continue into the academic route. But the system cannot say you are the son of so 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 and so, you are the son of one chieftain or one chieftain or one military man. So because of that, they will push you. No, you cannot be pushed. They will make a judgment based on that result. But if you can show further that you are actually better than this, the system will absorb you. And even at that, if you now even become a hairdresser or whatever, the system is still in place if you choose to come back to school again.
True, I agree.
Yeah,
But my own is I feel this is like a selection of the species
yeah,
trying to you know
the fittest.
sorry.
The fittest, selecting the
Yes, trying
fittest.
to see the fittest, and you see it in almost everything that is being done. So, like even within the system, they've got grammar schools. So a child will have to be selected through the process if they want to go to grammar schools. And grammar schools are seen as private education, but funded by government.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you would now see a race of many children vying for the same thing, which with that, I mean, it's something that we are used to in Nigeria, where people will do the exams and everything. So it is not a matter of your money now taking you in that, putting you in that, getting you to that,
Yeah,
getting you to
but you know the good thing with that system, if you have a child that is an immigrant, if he does well, he's going to get that space
yes,
ahead of any person.
yes.
Aha.
So
So
that is now kind of like a fair ground. Now it gives other children opportunity
equal opportunity. Yeah. That is
to.
how yes, that is how people develop
But you
love
see
for their
what
country.
they tend to do. What they tend to do, they do not really encourage you to scaffold your child's learning. That's what I have picked up. They expect you to
Yeah,
just
but
leave
they
the
feel
child to
that
go at the pace that they teach them in school. And the education
yeah,
to
they
me
feel
is
that you had those
watered down.
15 years.
I think the American system is just like the combination of the two you guys are talking about now, because they give you chance to really make amends. Then if you cannot, if you maybe for instance now you get a C, you still everybody still got to, if you want to go into college, everybody still got to go and do another exam to see if you really are brought to that level.
Merited.
You see,
Yeah. Then
in
you
the
go and do
UK
the
here,
exam. If you
in the UK
fail,
here, it
yeah.
is only those going into grammar school that do exam. Kind of, exams. Whether you pass or you don't pass, you will still. It is, Oga, let me pass. They keep you going. They keep you going. You will find, meanwhile, in systems that like in Nigeria, where a child does not do well, he comes last, he will repeat. Here, you will go. You will keep on going with your mumuyi, you know.
Like here too, if you fail, the system will get you an advisor that will now look into you, then now go alongside with you. You'll be trained, you go for lectures. It's as you are going for another school again. Then if you finish that school, you will now go for that same exam that you didn't do well, because everybody got to go through that exam. It's like a prelim, but it's not as like jam, but it's a prelim to assess you if you are still very sound. And it
Yeah,
will
you
still
see, you
encourage
see
you
the
again, to go for advice so that you can be able to do it. If you got it encourages you continuously until you get it right.
Okay.
you see the beauty with that kind of a system is that it ensures that somebody that's supposed to be your gardener will not now be the person that's now your president. Unfortunately, that's the system we have found ourselves. That people that are supposed to be a gardener are now the one that is deciding over the affair of the country. The system
Yeah,
ensures that, in
in
fairness,
Europe, in
sorry,
Europe, I mean, where? In
no,
Europe.
I'm saying in Europe now, the in fairness is that because of that system, in fairness is that the system is able to push the right people into the right places compared
But
to
from what I've seen, like in the UK here, a lot of them tend to go to specific kind of academic institutions. They to be in that corridor of power. You know, you will have a few, but most of them go through the rigors. I mean, go through. I mean, they have that. They are academically inclined. I mean, you know, they've been exposed to tertiary institutions. Most of them. I've not come across any that does not have that background. I stand to be corrected.
Yeah, it's the same thing we are saying. It's
Okay.
basically the same thing. Yeah, because a system like that ensures that you don't present your worst to lead your best. That's just it. It makes sure
Yes.
that your
Yes.
worst does not, the worst does not lead the best. That's just what the
I
system is
think I
And
about.
think the
that's the
American
opposite of what we
I
have.
think see I think the American system is much more better because they keep on no matter how long they keep on accessing you, trying to know which area you are good. Then if you pass that main exam and you're a science student, you go for your course. They will assess you on that course. Then if they feel that you can, and you will be the one to feel that you cannot go ahead, they will give you alternate route where you go round, then come back to that same course you've been doing because they don't allow you to go because they know that everything. It's a capitalist state and the government is helping you out because that is the sort of it's like a welfare. They want you to get that thing in there. They want to force it in there, except if you say you don't want to do anymore. But as they are trying to make sure you get in there, you might finally discover too that you are good in one area. That is it. And you decide yourself.
Hmm. It is interesting. It's very interesting. Well, the borderline is that I don't know. We just have to wake up. We have to wake up. The world is leaving us behind. We
And
really
that
have
is
to.
true. That
Yeah.
is true. And for me, let me just put these questions. I'll just things that have been coming in my head. I feel you see this Jackpot syndrome, borders being opened in the West for and they are taking us on board. What is the benefit of that? Why is that happening? So, do we not think that what's happening in Nigeria is an expected outcome for them? It's so how what am I putting my thoughts across?
Yeah,
I
you
feel
are. You are, madam.
yeah.
You are, madam. If you, like I keep saying, I understand the point you are trying to make, even without you completing your
Mm,
sentences. Yeah, like this jackpot syndrome. Now we can. Yeah, the point you are just trying to make that at the end of the day, it is the West that's benefiting from the jackpot syndrome. But
exactly.
yes, I know that's what you are trying to do. But madam, exactly how can you blame the West for that?
And so you see, I think the policies, I feel the policies that the World Bank and co and all the other the other what do we call them that have placed on Nigeria, the policies are untenable and it's one that we the people suffer it the most. And what do? You
I
flee.
understand that your point is that the West or the World Bank they deliberately disrupt the conditions in our country, and the conditions become unbearable, and this will encourage our people.
Which goes back to the love that we were talking
Yeah,
about.
which will
Which
make our
goes-
people to now go to the West, and in that way, the West is able to harvest our talent. But if you
because where
if
I
I
It's
can just if I can just
just like capital flight.
yeah, if I can just ask you a question, madam. How
mm,
many times have you seen them advertised position for NNPC, CBN? That is obviously not a policy of the World Bank. They do that amongst themselves, amongst the rich, even in getting into NDA. You know what it takes before somebody gets into NDA. That's obviously not the policy of World Bank. So when you are faced with a system like that, so what do you do? And when there is federal government job, We know how these jobs are distributed. So when people are faced with those kind of, it's just the basics I'm talking about, because you gave a more robust picture. But let's look at the low-hanging fruits. NNPC, CBN, Nigeria Defense Academy. How do people get into those institutions? It's completely unfair. It's the children from certain section of the society, not just your ethnicity now. No, your class, your economic class, your
Yeah.
exposure, your political clout. Those are the children of those people that get there. And what do you expect a child of a common man to do who has
And
an
plus,
education
what?
and he knows that if he goes abroad, he can be able to at least elevate his family?
But
Will he
listen to
not
this.
run away?
Talking on that point, there are these politicians, El Rufai, Ibori, and who else? All their children have been put in to head
And chairman of House of Assembly, different
different
positions there.
committees.
Yeah,
That they were even able to position their children into politics and into a position of
yeah.
power is
That's
quite
what they do.
scary. Nigeria is turning into a a, a, a feudal system.
That's what I'm saying. So if you see that kind of system now, like these key positions that I just talked about, when the children of the rich, they position themselves in all those places, you cannot compete with them economically, you cannot compete with them in any way. So, and the only thing you can do, okay, let me go abroad and make the dollars, convert it to naira, and it becomes bigger. In that way, I can be able to take care of my family. Because if you decide to stay and be earning that 30,000, you are not going to do anything with it. You're not going to do anything with the 30,000. So that's just the way that is. So even if this policy, the WHO or whatever, they put these draconian policies in place that will encourage capital flights, like a Panther said, but we could have done better. We could have made application for positions open. I just use CBN and those juicy, even in places that are not even juicy, they still kick back, they still kick front, they still kick what? Exactly what is wrong with us?
That Nigeria is still where how it is. Honestly, it is amazing me because as far as I'm concerned, it is a carcass. It is a carcass.
Exactly
There's no
what's wrong
meat
with
on
us?
the bone.
How else can you possibly explain the fact that we can't, as basic as Angola is refining their own crude oil? Angola,
Oh,
we can't refine crude oil for how many years? For how many years we can't refine crude oil?
so is it not? Are this not a crime against the Nigerian people worthy of the guillotine? For all, to be honest with you,
Guillotine,
yeah,
but
honestly, because
are you sure? Are you sure you can use that word?
well, I don't want.
The last time I heard about that was during the French Revolution.
Yes, they should bring it back for these people. They should
The
bring it back.
guillotine
How can
machine.
you explain this for God's sake?
Yeah, how
I
can you explain that? That
I
alone. How can you
the,
explain? It's
the,
unexplainable.
it's so regressive. I can't understand how 6 refineries, none of them is working. None. And every time a new government comes in, they collect billions of dollars that they are going to renovate and get it running.
It's simply unexplainable. Only that
Now
alone
we
just
have
shows
this
you that
woman, Desiani, who bled the petroleum sector dry. Now she has been reformed and she's now come out of her cage. She's now healed of cancer all of a sudden,
all
and they
of a
are
sudden.
she's becoming something to be to extol virtues on. I
Did
don't
you see her
get
last
it.
picture? Did you see her last picture? She was looking like a sweet 17 or be sweet
You
16.
see, I don't
From
get it. So
cancer
all that
to
while it was just a gimmick. They used that as they are using Emefiele now.
yeah,
It is a shame,
that's
a
it.
huge shame.
It's a big
Honestly,
shame.
the only way out of this quagmire that we are in is when serious, not just this kangaroo court jamboree that they do. They do not. We don't want them to explain. We don't want any them to tell us who did, where they did, whatever. They should just pack them up and go and do what they. We don't want to see them. They should take them to where they will never see light again. Because
unfortunately, people that will do it, they are all part of the system.
But that is the thing. That is why they don't want an OB to come in.
They are all part of the system. The justice system, all of them, they are into it. So it's a long way home, like they say.
We'll get
It's
there
a long
somehow. The only way.
The only thing. Yeah, the last set of people that believes in this country are the obedience. And
yes,
if we want this nation in one, I think we just have to do everything to make sure that this man gets to power. That's my final submission.
And that is I concur with that 100% because I still believe in Nigeria.
It will work. The country will work if we get somebody that's ready to make it work. Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of work to get it to work, but it's still there is still
doable.
Hope.
It's doable.
And once Obi is out of the picture, I don't know what is going to happen. Honestly, only God will come down and land in that Nigeria. Because as it is right now, he's the only one that is keeping the thin thread together.
Holding everybody together
from snapping.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a pleasure having this discussion.
It's the same with me, madam. Thank you very much.
A peaceful way and calm way of getting people to the way you express your views is very, very how will I put it now? Should I say is inspirational the right word, or to say is something to learn from? Yeah.
Thank you very much, madam. Likewise. Yeah.